My name is Angelica Giacchiella, and I am a human victim of it all on this earth since I was born. I have been alive since 1980, alone without my real holy guardian angel, alone without the real holy loving God the Father, the real Jesus Christ that exists, and the real Holy Spirit that exists, and the Holy Mary, the real one that exists by my side to protect me from a archangel that is punished, that is supposed to be restrained in the abyss of hell. I, Angelica Giacchiella, an innocent human, have free will of choice given by God, disrespected, that is not allowed by God, the Supreme Court of Almighty God, that I told every in heaven to be present at on the earth, the Holy God the Father, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit, failed to attend on the earth to take the punished archangel to the abyss of hell years ago when I was born, then to protect a victim on the earth, a human being, a child, a girl, Angelica Giacchella, of clean mind, kind heart, was born on the earth, a selfless, benevolent, little merciful being, a little baby made of flesh, whose God given free will of choice was disrespected and is not allowed, as well known by all in the heavens, according to God's word. These matters were not resolved in proper timing on the earth right away. Then I was a victim since baby with the punished archangel that already sinned against me and knew not to, that I didn't give it verbal permission to do. My God given dignity was disrespected, my free will of choice, in many ways, by all holy in heaven. I'm the only one on the earth out of all the humans on the earth. I was targeted on the earth. This archangel, punished, found out about God's plans for me, and this archangel that is punished has blocked supernaturally all help from heaven since I was born, when I was a victim already. The holy, loving God the Father failed to hold me in his hands when born. Jesus Christ, his Son, the Holy Mary, his mother, the Holy Spirit. They failed to hold me in their hands as a baby. The holy, loving Father left an innocent little kind-hearted baby that was born healthy and happy, didn't even cry. A little human earth angel. I had free will of choice to stay in heaven. But the holy in heaven, the holy loving God the Father, disrespected this. Jesus Christ, his Son, the Holy Spirit, the Holy Mary, only if I choose and carefully selective I choose, acting in the best interest of my own being, my clean-minded, that is rather selfless, benevolent, merciful being, if I consciously, carefully think and choose to come to the earth in human to be born, that is rather in human form, then I have to consent to this by free will of choice. I could have been respected to stay safe in heaven. And I have every right rather, for that to be respected by the divine, holy, almighty, loving God the Father, Jesus Christ the Son, the Holy Spirit, only if I choose, according to my God-given free will of choice, to be respected as well. If I choose to come to earth in human form, then I have to consent to this. Angelica was left crying in the heavens. According to the best of my own reasoning abilities. These are my words for it, my terms. I am a celestial angel from the heavens that highest has ranking surpassed the archangels. A selfless, benevolent, merciful being that remembered all of God's beloved creation. That was left crying in heaven to see what the holy, loving God the Father left unattended to on the earth and can't, since he created it in the universe. I am not part of the heavens. I have no part of their ways. The holy, loving God the Father that I'm referring to ways hasn't done anything almost in proper timing in this universe. Since he created it, it is obvious to everyone. I use the terms for the holy loving God the Father, carefully selectivized words for this entity that exists in the heavens. The divine, holy, almighty, with superior holy powers, with holy loving grace that he has to bestow upon his beloved creation, a holy loving God the Father and Creator. This is an all-knowing God. This God knows all, has superior reasoning ability, intelligence over all humans, surpassing their intelligence, that is, and reasoning abilities. Knows all in every language. This God is omnipotent, all powerful, that is, has superior power, holy power, supernatural power, that is all powerful, has superior authority over all of his beloved creation. Over all as well, an entire universe. This divine, holy, almighty, loving God the Father and Creator is omnipresent. He stated in his creation, all of his beloved creation. He loved them into existence. He consciously first thought of this deity in the heavens, this intelligent, wise, all-knowing God, the loving Father, carefully thought of every separate different individual and created them in perfect form physically to function with a certain function or functions, depending on how many functions they have, that their physicality that he consciously thought of and created perfect to function at proper normal temperatures, the ones on the earth, were carefully selectivized each and loved into existence from within the heart of this beloved, this divine, holy, almighty God. the loving Father and Creator. Each individual he carefully planned was created and put on earth with a certain purpose, with certain functions, with a life force so valuable, so loved by this loving Father, the Creator. Each individual with its purpose and destiny was predestined by this holy, loving God the Father. He carefully selected each one and put them on earth with a certain, as stated, purpose, destiny, with a physicality that was made perfect to function with all the functions it has, that is to be respected by the divine, holy, almighty, loving God, to be never left alone, to be monitored within for the purpose of never being left alone, to be cared for, loved continuously within by the divine, holy, loving God the Father and Creator. Every cell in humans, starting as infants in the womb, was loved into existence from the heart and soul, from within this deity, the holy, loving God the Father, that was put on earth and has to be respected this way and has to be done this way on the earth. Everyone to respect each of these individuals for all they are worth, their God-given dignity, that is such a valuable life, and everything that they are, their physicalities are made up of, everything that belongs to them. In the case of a human infant and all, including other animals, infants, there's in the womb, in the little eggs of the insects as well, all other living creatures on the land, below land, in the bodies of water, in lakes, sea, rivers, and others, in the wild animals, farm animals, birds. All of these individuals were carefully selectivized by this God to be put on the earth with a purpose as well, to respect themselves, all that they are worth, their physicality, that all belongs to this God. Every atom, molecule, down to the even as well the DNA, RNA level, every living cell, their brains, the mind of each one's individual life force, souls of each one, different from every other beloved individual of God's beloved creation. Each have an ability to naturally die that is to be respected and monitored continuously by the holy, loving God the Father and Creator, as He is morally obligated to continuously monitor this on the earth, and each of us loved into existence, individual, beloved creation of His. This valuable life that they have, and physicality, and all of that they're made up of, and all living creatures, humans, animals, birds, and others just mentioned, and the infants, have to be respected this way, so valuable beyond words to this holy, loving God the Father, that He cared so much and put on earth, loved them so much to put on earth this dignity for all their worth to be respected and to be ethically treated right by the God, the loving Father, who is above all mostly obligated and has to do his job to carefully monitor within, as stated, his word. He cannot go back on. Omnipresent, that is present in all of his individual, separate, beloved creation, to never leave them alone, to always have one of his, what he loved into existence, guardian, holy angels. These are carefully selectivized angels. These are consciously thought of by this holy, loving God, the Father and Creator. These are each carefully selectivized to get along with each of God's loved into existence, each little of His beloved creation that He loves so much, carefully selectivized to get along with them emotionally, to be compatible with them in every way. Carefully selectivize this each different, separate individual, guardian, holy angel, that He appointed one to each of His beloved creation to guard them from all danger, all their lives, from anything that is morally wrong, to guide them on the right path, on God's morally right side, good, right, what is clean-minded, of proper, morally right etiquette and manners, ways of thinking, intents, actions, ways of acting, that is, to guide every one of them to be intelligent, to be patient in terms of virtue use, to respect their own physicality, this temple that belongs to God entirely, that the whole universe, in it, every separate individual that God loved into existence is expected to respect, including God, the holy loving God, the Holy Father and Creator, Jesus Christ, his Son that exists, the Holy Spirit that exists, the Holy Mary, the Holy Mother that exists in the heavens. All of these carefully selectivized and loved into existence by the holy loving God the Father that is, rather. These guardian angels that he selected according to his word that he cannot go back on, were supposed to be present on the earth, present near those on earth, rather. They are not part of the earth, they are not part of nature, they are not part of each individual of God's beloved creation made of atoms, molecules, particles, living cells. Their physicalities, their souls, life force, brain, mind, emotions, personalities, ability to die, praying abilities in thought, mind, heart, and soul, and the rest of each of their physicalities. These guardian holy angels are separate entities, or to stay, that is rather, a safe distance away from each individual of God's beloved creation, to guard them, to guide them as stated throughout their entire life, especially when they really consciously think through and make a choice to choose for them to really be present by their side. These individuals of God's beloved creation have free will of choice that is God given, that has to be respected by all, including God. Above all, when a human, an individual, an infant in the womb, then after born, that is in humans, then in animals as well, separately, their infants, then after born, in birds, they have the little eggs, infants in the eggs, in fish, they have the little infants, these are in the eggs, others in the womb animals, in the wild farm animals, these beloved pets, their infants in the womb that need to be guarded on the earth, their entire loved into existence physicality, all that belongs to them, so valuable to this, that is the holy God, the loving Father. These are all kind-hearted little ones. These are all born, before born in the womb as well. These are selfless, benevolent, little merciful beings. The mercy pertains to being kind-hearted and compassionate towards others. That they have a physicality loved into existence and all their worth with gifts bestowed upon each one, carefully thought of and consciously thought of and selectified by this holy, loving God the Father, that he thought of and bestowed out of his holy, loving, supernatural grace upon them onto the earth, even in the womb, with an individual brain, reasoning ability, knowledge, intellect, certain thought process, each different than any other individual, with a carefully selectivized purpose, destiny, different than every other of God's beloved, all highest number of each different, separate individuals of his beloved creation, to use their virtues, these gifts as well of the Spirit, he out of his loving grace bestowed upon these as well separate gifts and talents, that some are good at each different things, that is rather with their own purpose, that are put on earth in a certain place and to be born at a certain time in proper timing, carefully selectivized by the holy loving God the Father, with carefully selectivizing he thought of consciously, then thought to loved into existence after he cared to create these parents, that the carefully selectivized for each guardian holy angels were to stand beside each are appointed to and according to his word, when and also when these humans consciously choose to have them present at a safe distance away from them, but guarding them throughout their life, guiding them on the morally right ways, in the right way rather, in all ways that they choose throughout their life, to help them, to guide them to have a proper job, to guide them in terms of using whatever abilities that God carefully loved into, thought of, and then rather carefully selectivized and bestowed out of his loving grace upon them a certain learning ability, knowledge, for these guardian angels to help these individuals that are going to be parents, especially the human ones, of another individual, to make sure that to guard these individuals, especially when they choose these guardian angels to be present, that are emotionally compatible and get along with each separate human individual parent, to stand beside them and to do their job as commanded by this holy, loving God the Father, to do his will, to respect the choices, carefully, consciously thought of choices, and his God given free will of choice, to act in the best interest of these individuals, the two parents, the father and the mother, the guardians to look there to see if these individuals are compatible in all possible ways to have a little infant, be there, that is rather by their side, to guard them from any danger, any moral wrong, to be there present so they are not alone, that God put them there, well known for this purpose, to not leave anyone alone so they are not afraid, so they do not cry alone, knowing that they are loved and God put some guardian angel that is there to be there present all their life as needed, and dating someone to guide them to make a proper decision, to meet a proper mate on the earth, to get married to for proper reasons, and to make sure that they only think to have a child if they are genetically compatible, get along emotionally in all possible ways as they can on the earth, make sure they dated long enough to get it known enough information about one another to see if they get along, if they are going to get along later throughout their lives, should they choose by free will to get married, especially then to have a child, a little infant, a little human earth angel, to consider that if these individuals, these guardian angels, have to do God's will and respect the choices of these individuals, to act in the best interest of their health, life, safety, welfare, their overall well being, to assess if these individuals are compatible to have a child, if they are in the long run going to take care of the child in the womb and through the years long enough to raise it enough so it can live its own life, to make sure that it is healthy, loved continuously, respected for all its worth, its God given dignity, choices that are carefully selectivized and God given to be respected, its life force, soul, mind, the brain, praying abilities, ability to die naturally, every cell, molecule, all the rest of it, mind, thoughts, emotions, personality, all of it for all it is worth, that belongs to God, the holy loving Father, that are to think of, to respect on the earth, these guardian angels, to guard and guide these parents, to assess if they are compatible to have this little human earth angel that will be carefully selectivized by God to get along with emotionally these two individual separate human parents, the father and the mother, so that they are assessed if they are going to take care of this infant, where they live, where the infant is going to be born, if it is a proper place, and for the proper time for the infant to be born in a certain city, place, or it has a destiny already that God thought of consciously and cared so much to put this individual to carefully selectivize these parents to get along with it emotionally, with its personality. Any other siblings it has, brothers or sisters, family members, beloved pets that have a kind hearted soul, life force, emotions, personality. To consider all these for this little individual to get along with, because this individual is so important on the earth. It has such a predestined high value of importance according to the holy, loving God the Father and to the rest of those on the earth, that it will affect on the earth while alive, even in the womb. This little individual has to have two parents in the proper place and time in the city that get along with it, that will care enough to nurture and take care of it and guide it according to what its purpose is, that it is good at doing, that know not to waste its time, to make sure it has proper teachers, if needed, religious worship leaders or spiritual guides to guide it in terms of a human with a soul, life force, another gift. Any old teachers, any religious worship leaders like priests, men such as priests, ministers, or those of other Christ respecting intelligent religions. Daycare workers, elementary school teachers, preschool teachers, high school teachers, principals, lecturers, professors at colleges, university, and their higher level schools, educators thereof. These are all carefully selectivized by this holy, loving God the Father. Each of these are put on earth, carefully selectivized, planned ahead by this loving God the Father to get along with in every way possible with this one little infant, emotionally, all put in proper place in proper city, in proper timing, monitored, and are to be continuously by the each appointed by God, carefully selectivized by this God to get along with and stand by their side, guardian holy angels. This one little infant that is to be born already has a destiny, a purpose, function, and more than one functions that and certain thought processes that others don't have, certain reasoning abilities in the brain and their mind. As a human individual that God carefully thought of and put on earth in proper place and time to be born, and has free will of choice, though should it choose to use these gifts and function and their functions, talents, excuse me. These are bestowed upon each little infant that God carefully chose and cared so much and loved this little infant to take the time to really give it certain abilities, thoughts, reasoning ability, and their abilities any certain ideas others don't have, in a certain place, in proper timing to use on the earth. To is required to have these individuals, the parents, to make sure to help it to grow new cells, to take care of it, that is till approximately 20 years old. After it is born, after taking care of it, loving it, and respecting it for all ways that it is worth in the womb, such a valuable life. Every molecule, every little particle, atom, cell, living cell, brain, mind, thoughts, this that has already these virtues, these gifts of the spirit. It has a right to be born after loved into existence, already to keep in mind with all these bestowed upon it gifts, that God loved it so much to put with his purpose on earth, and should it choose, but is morally expected to use. It is expected to use, rather, and should it choose, these gifts, talents, bestowed upon by this holy loving God and the Father and the Creator on this little human infant throughout its life. It might be an ability to learn something others don't have abilities for, to learn easily, that has to be respected as well by the parents, its guardian holy angel, to guide it throughout its life, to help it accomplish it, to guard this valuable little infant for all it's worth, so valuable to this holy loving God the Father and everyone that is on the purpose, that has rather this purpose on earth to affect, should it choose, with its appearance, that to be physically healthy. It might be an individual that has a nice skin appearance pleasing to others, a speaking talent for public speaking, a very intelligent, wise individual expected to be, a good listener, a gift for someone else, a friend, a, a study buddy that crossed paths with in a school, a gift for another human, to have someone there for them, to be a volunteer, to have someone there for them, a gift from this holy loving God the Father. This one little infant that the parents have to consider, and guardian holy angels to do their serious part on the earth. Beside to guard these individual parents, to guide them best can throughout their life to the point they have a child, to make sure they are compatible to have this infant, and that they are financially capable, and it is a safe place proper for this individual to be born, to make sure that these parents are going to be compatible and stay throughout their life together and be a good example, morally right, clean minded, and get along with it emotionally proper in all possible ways with this little infant, human earth angel, that is a human on the earth, part of the earth, on the in the world there. Human earth angel, not a holy angel with holy powers, not with a superior reasoning ability of the holy angels that humans don't have, but it is considered a little holy being, This is a human earth angel. On the earth, put on earth, with no supernatural powers to heal, to think, that is, and has no abilities of the mind to think, and then resulted in holy loving grace of God, miraculous healing or protection or defense of another individual, of God's beloved creation. These are human earth angels. Their destiny, purpose on this earth is one of, after the parents carefully care for its physical health and are morally obligated to find proper teachers, proper school, and proper place to help to respect this as well, rather. Also, to consider what its intellectual abilities are, to not waste its valuable time on the earth that is limited, to be healthy in all possible ways, in that way respectful of their own physical health of brain and physicality. Then their physicality is a proper temple that belongs to God, a proper temple for their kind-hearted, compassionate, merciful soul, pure soul, clean-minded, morally right in all ways, good, a temple for their virtues, these gifts of the Spirit that they each have, the, the bestowed upon them gifts that they each have, talents, thoughts, unique, different than everyone else, learning abilities, different than everyone else, different purpose, destiny on earth that is carefully selectivized by this holy, loving God the Father that put them on earth for this purpose to use praying ability and thoughts, mind, heart, and soul to think and pray for someone else, should they choose, by free will of choice, not forced to do by anyone or anything else, without expecting anything in return or in reward. To selflessly be there, to be a good example in all possible ways, respectful of themselves, the mother, and those that raise them, and to be considered aware that they have an infant there, that they have to also act accordingly and keep in mind that is there, and set a good example in all possible ways for it at all times, especially when the infant sees them, rather, this little infant baby, all the years. Anyone that comes close range to them, to make sure they stay 2 meters away to prevent any germ spread to this little infant, knowing that everyone has different germs, bacteria within them, to keep this little infant baby, human earth angel, safe, healthy on the earth, so that this little infant learns from these individuals that took the time to care, to respect their own physicality, their own God given dignity for all their worth, treat themselves ethically right. and for other respect to set a good example. So this little infant will learn from two human parent earth human, that is rather human earth angels, to be respectful of the mother that cared for and loved them in the womb. It is, keep in mind, a long amount of time for 9 months. The father, these parents that took the effort to keep in mind to be healthy, old, and respectful of their health before they became pregnant with the child, the mother especially, out of respect of another life. The, the mother thought of the parent, the other parent rather, the father as well. The little infant then has to be told this and taught by the parents at a proper age to be mindful, to respect. It have to be and is monitored by the God, the holy loving God, the Father within every human. Every human, keep in mind, is judged all their lives in what they according to what they think, rather, what their intents are, what their actions that are carefully thought of and chosen are, how they respect themselves, and they are morally obligated to be respectful, to remember this and consciously think of this throughout their life, as just stated about those that took the time in their life to be respectful of themselves in all possible ways, brain, physical health, the physicality, and all that guide them, teach them throughout their life. To be respectful of themselves, their own dignity, and a good example then considerate of others that see them, that cross paths with them. Every individual parents have to think of this and respect those that raise them and keep in mind all their life as well, are judged accordingly by those in heaven. Throughout their life, all their life. And this is to be promoted, taught by the parents, those educators in schools, these ministers or priests, the Pope, higher level individuals of these, say, bishops, archbishops, cardinals, those of other religious worship, the leaders of different major, minor Christian, that is Christ respecting religions that are right according to God, the morally right beliefs. These are human representatives of God, the holy loving God, the Father on the earth. They are to be educated about all his morally right ways, these morally right beliefs of his that are good, clean-minded, to be educated of basic health, to promote this to others, to be physically healthy as best they can, of brain and physical health. Then their physicality, a proper temple for their pure soul, their praying abilities in thought, mind, heart, and soul, for the gifts that God bestowed upon them that are unique to them, speaking talent, learning ability, to be a religious worship leader, It is actually a human representative of God, the holy loving Father on the earth in human form. To promote then, when physically healthy, a good example for others that see them, to be dressed appropriately in proper clothing that is proper to the skin. The skin is, keep in mind, an organ, needs oxygen. Proper clothing to be good example that circulates air. Proper color that is not harmful to human vision of others, of other animals that have vision, insects, birds, other living creatures. An individual that has to be very educated, respectful of their physical health, to knowledgeable be of the basic brain functions and physical health anatomy, what the that is what the each individual part's basic of brain and physicality functions are, basic human physiology that that is referring to the each part of the brain and other physicality functions, all what these certain all functions the brain controls, and the different parts and of the physicality organ cells, what these functions are basically for, to be basically well rounded in terms of physical own health, to promote it to others in a holy mass. The holy is only a term used, it is mainly for those in heaven, but any human on the earth that is respectful of themselves and God's right ways, morally right and healthy, respectful of themselves, the mother that carried them in the womb, of her time invested to keep in mind, expected to older life, as monitored within heavens, a human is required to do. Those to respect, keep in mind of the Father and his health and time, hard invested money that help raise the individual to keep it safe. This priest, human representative of God on earth in any major Christian religion, a spiritual guide, evangelist, a prophet. To mention online, safe or in a short distance location, to keep in mind, to only humans to travel when choose, when it's safe, proper temperatures, to inform others. To if it was a church, a religious worship place, or a safe dwelling place, that is a short distance, not too far to travel to, not dangerous to human health, for another individual to travel to if it is too cold or too warm, to assess this, to be considered of their own health safety, to consider it to be of what is going on and have to be educated about current matters in the world going on if there are pandemics in the world, to be respectful of itself, this individual human representative of God, its physicality that belongs to God, every cell monitored within by God, their thoughts, their intents, the actual actions that they choose, consciously think through and choose to act upon, what they choose to speak, what they choose to listen to others, if when they choose to do their job, can only make pay if they are human representatives of God, the beloved, loving, holy God, the Father and Creator. In all these ways, is morally right, respectful of oneself, God, their physical temple, all belongs to God and all they're made up of. They have to morally be a good example and respect others, treat them with respect that is as they would want to be treated and right to be in all ways. that they rightly deserve, according to the divine, holy, loving God the Father, according to his word, true bioethics laws, that is basically life respecting laws of oneself, to be respected all the living cells, a physical being belonging to allowed into existence by the God, the parents. Consider all these still throughout their lives have to be. With these talents so valuable, gifts, prayers, even to thinking, intelligent human that chooses, not forced to do, to be use their gifts to pray for others, to be use their virtues of kindness and compassion together with a selfless act that is of this together. With this act is a mercy act. To be kind and compassionate towards others from their pure-hearted soul, to consciously think, to be patient, use this virtue, this gift of the Spirit, only if they're physically healthy and respectful of all those just mentioned, of themselves, of God. They have to consider also to be a good example, at the respect of the example of Jesus Christ that exists. They cannot neglect to miss anything out of these thought processes. Theirs, that is their thoughts. They have to keep these things in mind all the time. They have to keep in mind these human representatives of God on earth, that they are influential and are going to be seen by others. Even these days, online, mainly, they are going to be viewed by parishioners. Some have on a Sunday or Saturday or during the week 100 to 1,000 viewers, parishioners, looking for an individual that is a representative of God, that is respectful of themselves and always just stated, and intelligent, considerate of and mindful that these other humans are looking for a human to be a good example out of respect of them, to be considerate of all every other individual other than themselves that are going to be viewing, to keep in mind the viewing audience. There will be children, pregnant humans, disabled humans, old humans, humans with loved pets beside them, with emotions, personality, a life force soul, have their own purpose, might have infants, have to be considered respected, to be respectful of nature, to keep this in mind, to tell humans to stay home, rest on Sundays, God's day of rest, a holy day of rest. God worked 6 days and nights creating the universe and all in it that he loved into existence and rested. A deity, this one, exists, holy, loving God the Father and Creator. And every of his beloved creation created has to rest on Sunday mainly, and Saturdays, other days of the week. According to what mainly goes on in the world, most humans go to school or week from Monday to Friday and rest on weekends. Friday nights. These individuals have to, after the pandemics in the world, and if there are any other ones, are expected to on this earth to stand on earth as a human, intelligent, clothed appropriately, considerate of thinking of their own health and others, be well informed as stated about current affairs in the world that might negatively affect human health, safety, especially of the parishioners in their own city and their surrounding cities or towns, country, to be aware to check the temperature in the city, the weather that will be coming, to advise individuals if it is a church that is respectable, the actual physical worship place in any religion respectable of God. It is a short distance to travel to in normal warm temperatures for human to function. Then it is proper to a human physical health and for each one to set a good example for others so they are not misinformed and no one's health fails. To advise them to this church if it is a little chapel or a little building, with no holy water at the entrance. The holy water is not holy. It has been deemed by a human earth angel, myself. I have high celestial rank in heaven on this earth. Authority over the Pope, all world religious worship leaders, all job titles, have already mandated on the earth, true according to God, according to bioethics laws, health and safety laws, any sacramental, including this water, which is a limited resource to be only used, that the priests, ministers, these human representatives of God on earth, and the Pope, and all other individuals of different religions, Jewish, rabbis, others of all other Christian religions, at all other higher levels of their employment of different job descriptions, the secretaries that they employ or that work with them, all these individuals and the parishioners, any humans that produce these sacramentals, these items, such as the holy, it was termed holy water, but the water is not holy. The holy oil, keep in mind, is not the oil that is holy. This Jesus bread, the wafer, itself is a food item, perishable. These main items were used throughout the years and disrespected. These items exist on the earth as a limited resource. The water, it is evident not everyone has water to drink on earth, is not allowed to be blessed in the name of God, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit. Out of respect of the holy in heaven, the morally right ways, these laws I just mentioned, and all those individuals that are obviously still unfortunately poor on this earth, that don't have enough water to drink. The water has been blessed in previous centuries and more, and dipped in hands when humans got ill on the way into colder to warm temperatures, not informed by these priests and the popes to stay home And then when traveled got ill on the way and dipped their hands into the water, blessed, then on the forehead, absorbed almost to the some on the skin, microbes, germs, viruses, mold, bacteria. Common cold is a virus different in every human. Cold sore, viruses, chicken pox, viruses, different bacterial infections, respiratory ailments, HIV, AIDS, human immunovirus, that is, Ebola virus, avian influenza virus, allergens, pet allergens, protein based, different allergens from humans affected by seasonal allergies, spread and other microbes, so tiny not seen to humans, in this water that they got on the way. When they were supposed to rest on Sundays, to rest their physicality that belongs to God, with a bestowed upon them with their talents that God loved them to use, and requires a physicality that is healthy of brain and all organs, their physicality to function at normal temperatures, to be healthy, to keep in mind that have a purpose put on earth as a gift for someone else, and potentially some affect trillion people depending on their job. Each human was loved into existence, even in the womb, to be reminded by these priests, ministers, the Pope, so valuable, loved by this holy, loving God the Father that took the time to carefully put them in a certain place and time to be born, with emotionally compatible parents, siblings, brothers, sisters, other relatives, godparents, proper teachers that get along with them emotionally, caring individuals at all levels, employers, friends that cross paths with them, humans that might save their life. These are all carefully, rather selectivized human earth angels. They only have that is rather abilities that a human can do in flesh form, but that requires rather their physicality to be well rested, the mother to be respected, and parents, the father, other one as well, that took their time to care for when the baby was in the womb while growing new cells, their brain, 9 long months, that's beyond millions of seconds, that the mother cared for her health and for this infant, every baby, little human earth angel with purpose to be remembered. The mother, while remembering this, to keep in mind in the womb for these priests, ministers, other individuals that are not religious. Keep in mind, humans are not required to be religious. They can live their lives best they can as humans and are never required to mention anything about God, Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit, the Holy in heaven. There are humans that choose and have carefully selectivized to live this way, but still respect all those in the heavens, the morally right ways. These individuals have rights to live a non religious life, are still very respectable humans. So there are other job titles to keep in mind to share to others. That those that are not religious and safe to be that way. There are entities beyond the nature that no one sees that exist in the universe. To keep in mind, they are all loved into existence by God, angels, archangels, loved into existence as stated, carefully selectivized by God to do God's will. Appointed and commanded only as well can only do what God commands them to do, in proper place, in proper timing, and as long as needed. and considered of humans' God-given choice, a human acting in the best own interest of health, life, and safety, dignity, carefully think and choose when sane, to be and choose to have them present, to protect them. A holy guardian angel is stated to really be present personally at safe distance from them because humans cannot handle their energy field. Protector archangels to protect them, to think and result protection of loving holy God's grace, real one. Should they think consciously and verbally consent their thoughts to communicate to the separate entity of a loving holy God's commanded to them archangel to protect them when they choose by free will, cannot be forced by anyone or anything or coerced into being protected by one of these, being affected by the actual protection, holy, loving grace of God protection that is resulted supernaturally from the abilities thoroughly thought of by this commanded archangel trained with abilities of mind to think and then have resulted this holy loving grace protection of human brain, life force, soul, physicality, emotions, dreams, all parts of the and all other parts of the brain, praying abilities in thought, mind, heart, and soul, life force of every individual, especially in humans, in the infants after the born. These are trained archangels that exist in heaven, are sent to earth, but not part of the earth, are not seen by humans, by any that are on earth. Humans don't have the ability to see with vision this beyond nature. The term is supernatural entities. They are not part of air. They are not part of the humans. They have their own intellect, their own that is like brain, such as their brain, where they think their own physicality that is entirely separate from any human individual, any infant, in all ways. Also have to keep in mind a safe distance to be away from the human, and also in heaven type of encasing around them, even if needed a beyond nature supernatural protection around the human, bestowed when human choose but needed, or near when these archangels are present as needed to keep the humans safe, even though separate, but cannot handle these archangels, their energy field, what they're made of. These archangels are created by God. This loving God, the Father, created these ones that are of higher rank than the holy angels. They have superior power over any archangel or angel that has been punished. To the best of my human reasoning ability, there are angels that have been punished by the God. Final judgment cast by the real Jesus Christ that exists, that everyone is as well in the universe, that God loved into existence, expected to respect. This Jesus Christ, to do morally right and respectful, cannot sin or do morally wrong in their thoughts, in their intents, their actions, in themselves, and cannot disrespect anyone else, and by thinking in their thought, in their intents, and their actual chosen, consciously chosen in thoughts, actions. All humans are expected to live respectful of themselves, their mother, and those that raise them, their valuable time, their efforts, that what they work so hard to help raise and provide a safe home all the years, almost so mostly 20 years old for the child, till they got through school to help them have their own home and family, should they choose, to help them learn, teach them only what is necessary, what is intelligent, what is respectful of themselves, and to be aware when healthy enough that possibly can, then to be educated how to be have the think and act appropriately in front of others, to think of and dress appropriately, covered up modestly in front of others, out of respect of themselves, the mother, those that raise them, educators, parents, friends, spiritual guides, religious worship leaders, these representative of God, human ones, and his morally right ways and rules and laws. Good, proper, morally right etiquette, intelligent, wise ways. These individuals have to be respectful and keep this in mind of themselves, those that raised them through the years, 20 years approximately since born, and the mother in the womb, parents then, and all these things just mentioned throughout their life. And the pets that helped raise them, that cared, have a soul, emotions, personality, to remind everyone to keep this in mind, and as well are expected by God and judged within accordingly, monitored thoughts, intents, actions, to remember are judged everyone within all their lives, and are expected and have to keep in mind to respect the beloved pets in all these ways. They do have a soul. They have virtues, gifts of the spirit, a life force, brain, mind, purpose, rights to be respected at all times. They all animals of flesh, living matter cells. These have limited reasoning abilities for some reason. Those, when healthy, keep in mind, can mention heart, soul shortly to God to help increase their reasoning ability, to thinking and understanding, to communicate more if they need help medically, to communicate more, understand what humans more say to them and others. These are kind-hearted animals that a lot of owners carefully choose and get along emotionally as well with. These are very kind-hearted, compassionate, merciful, selfless little animals, and at all ages. They care, they take care of even within safe means, to be respected, to be kept, remind them as needed, to teach, and everyone to be mindful, to stay 2 meters away from humans and infants, but they care, to think of, to will help to some save a life, to help someone, but they don't have the reasoning abilities enough to think to go get medical help themselves, to speak, to go to a veterinarian, to find a place, medical place for help. They know to, if they see their food, know to eat it, to get it, to take care of. They have, keep in mind infants if they have. If there are pandemics in the world, the rest, all humans have the reasoning ability, especially the owners. These individuals that care to take care of this individual separate, this animal, loved pet. It has its own purpose on the earth that God gave it gifts, virtues, bestowed upon, carefully selectivized by God to get along with a certain individual as a loved pet. Children love the animals, know to respect themselves and be promoted at proper age themselves, and the parents and all spiritual guides, religious worship leaders, the Pope, non-religious individuals, humans, medical staff, humans of all job descriptions, world leaders, the Dalai Lama, humans that have any other sites that are not religious but very intelligent, clean-minded, caring humans. Also, to put this information on their sites, to be mindful that everyone is to be respected, and those ones that are then mindful that others exist, especially those that can and have to take care of their little pets, others that have work with animals such as farm animals, birds. Even residential areas, there are little bunnies or birds flying around, have their own infants, to be humans mindful of, to be respectful in many ways, to humans to think slowly what is done to them as human, the other end to be aware, to take the time to slow down and not waste the time to sit at home watching a show that that's been on for so many years, or something that they don't have to watch, to not harm their vision, to be respectful of the animals, pets there, to think of anything that harms, that humans have reasonability to think for themselves if it damages their vision, say the TV screen, if it's something scary, not proper to human health, that is going to make someone cry, to consider that an animal, a pet, even outdoors, a bird, insects have emotions, sensory organs and brain, vision, hearing, their own, have emotions, personality, to be aware, to take the extra second to be aware human, to think of their surroundings and what other loved, little beloved of God's creation have little brains, heart organs and nervous systems that don't want to be damaged, don't want to cry, to be in earshot, within distance, to hear something that is problematic to human hearing, say a movie someone is going to watch, a TV show that will make someone cry, including the insects and the little ones, the loved pet, a horror film that is a human earth angel. I mandate all horror films be stopped production and destroyed. Any money that resulted, that really a human harmed health resulted and didn't choose, affected negatively, made by those that knew to never make these horror films, especially gonna affect others and scare them, damage their health, that they have no right to disrespect themselves and others, to scare, result in human emotional damages, and to negative affect human potentially for life, have a damaged heart, nervous system, affected negatively, and have a health concern resulted of it. Some have traumatic experience watching, even hearing, and have problems getting over it for life and don't want to be reminded of, including animals, loved pets, birds, bunnies. In residential areas, there are animals, bunnies, even going around, going from one house to another near. There's insects on the ground, underground, and living their lives in the right to be respected, hearing. Birds. There are many birds all over the world, especially near in residential areas where people are watching TV shows, movies, talking on their iPhones, into the cell phones. There are signals going on in the world that also, keep in mind, affect the living creatures, these beloved of God. All humans are expected to be healthy as possibly can and do what is more benefit, more worth on the earth, and to not waste their own time. They have to be respectful of their physical health, to do what is proper to their health. If they choose to watch something informative at safe distance, making sure there's no animals nearby, that's intelligent, respectful of their own hard-earned money and time to invest in something maybe funny if they can watch it. If they don't have a health concern, can laugh or make them happy, benefit their health, informative, not wasteful of their time, that is respectful on the part of those that are on the show, even news anchors, journalists, the Pope, world leaders, those movie actors, actresses, singers, any journalists and other humans of all their job descriptions, those in the World Health Organization, CDC, all expected to be educated, clothed appropriately, and good examples for others. Use their God bestowed upon them gifts that they were selectivized on earth out of all other people, and they chose and swore an oath to God, religious or not, to employers, and judged by God within, to do their job, use their talents, gifts, nice skin appearance, to be intelligent, respectful of those that raised them, the mother and the time for 20 years, to help them to get invested money, to get their jobs, to be good representatives of the morally right ways and God there on the earth, religious or not, to be a good example, to use their talent, intellectual abilities, what they learned, these gifts, speaking abilities, to be considered and mindful of their audience, the target audience, if it's children, teachers, other people, old people, individuals that have a disability, already suffering something that they do not deserve to suffer, are being affected by, according to God, the loving Father, that happened to them beyond their control, that they do not deserve to suffer and didn't choose to be affected by, but are, with certain health concerns, victims of different things in the world, have to be considerate of themselves, how they want to be treated with respect, and use their talents should they choose. They chose to do this job and selectivize out of many other candidates. They have to consider the be of themselves and respectful of those that raise their efforts and of others, that they are directing and using their talents that God gave them in proper time and place to use, to be respectful, helpful to others. Those just mentioned mostly affect beyond trillions of people on the earth. Have not all done their job, and trillions suffered and many died. These all humans had to use their gifts for morally right purposes. Many journalists, those in the other organizations, the Pope and World Organization, CDC, other ones of these in every country, the world leaders, almost trillion world religious worship Christian, respecting that is Christ, respecting religious worship leaders, failed medical staff, and others in all years, in previous years, centuries, to do what they were supposed to do and only use their gifts of God that bestowed and chose them specifically on the earth to use for morally right purposes, to be intelligent, to use all what knowledge they have in the job, can only pay money if they did a morally right, proper, best they can job, using these bestowed upon them out of his loving holy grace of God himself, to them talents, gifts, learning abilities, abilities to speak, praying abilities, thoughts in mind, heart, soul for others, the virtues that of the gifts of the Spirit, that is, the Holy Spirit. When a physical proper example health of kept in thought of each one of their brain and physically and dressed appropriately to keep in mind who they're speaking to, the target audience of others of God's beloved creation, all to keep in mind have a purpose on the earth. They might save one individual, someone's life. They are a gift from God and choose healthy have to be respected all their ways. All these individuals were expected and all expected during any all to help prevent any pandemics from resulting, to use their God-given talents only for morally right purposes, all judged within. Many of them all failed. If they don't rectify this on the earth with those victims that they offended, didn't do everything in their job description and consciously knew to do to prevent pandemics, to help prevent natural disasters, to help relief efforts, to use their funding, the world leaders especially have a budget, which is a financial resource of basic to fund that is natural the to fund the basic necessities of life, for proper jobs, funding, for free to fund to have everyone to have their rights and respected, free medical care that is easily accessible in short distance to their physicality, free masks, funding for those that cannot work at all, disabled, to fund entirely any all shelter for them, proper to them that they choose and could make themselves but cannot work to afford because they are disabled, have a health concern affected by something that they prevents them from working to get the money for basic necessities of life, toiletries, food, water, nutritious food, beverages, water, electricity, basic phone, to be paid for internet, basic appliances, an individual attendant, personal care assistant, as long as needed, fully funded. So they have an individual there for them to help them. Money for transportation, any all help, funding, money that they could make themselves but cannot because they are affected by something that happened to them beyond their control. They did not consciously choose to be affected by. For example, born with a certain health concern, someone separately that might have been in a car accident, by accident, humans victims of other things, natural disasters that affected them beyond their control, that they had no means of preventing. They didn't choose to be affected by, they do not deserve to be affected by in any way, but happened to them beyond their control, not protected for some reason by the higher power of the God, but was morally obligated to protect them from, keep in mind, by their guardian angel to guide them, to guard them from danger, to be protected by a protector archangel with holy powers. These individuals suffered something that they do not deserve to suffer on the earth at all, as anyone knows, and have to be respected and treated by those that are able-bodied, those that are not suffering anything, those in the world leaders that have the budgets. This is the money of a human earth angel put on earth, a gift with educated talents that other mother cared 9 long months, many million seconds, loved and cared for to be born proper physical health. The father, the time they invested health to get along to date and then love to have this child raised for 20 long years to be proper of health, educated, proper, found proper gifts, found these teachers that get along emotionally as well, care to teach them properly, morally right ways, religious worship leaders, guides, spiritual leaders, siblings that invested time and money, godparents, foster parents, caregivers, preschool, and this lecture teachers, rather, elementary, high school teachers, professors, lecturers that took the time to carefully think what was best interest of them to teach them what will affect them in their lives to use their gifts they have of learning, memory abilities, put by God carefully selected in proper place and time that they chose and told to the employer that they would do a proper job to use these talents and best they can to do the entire job. Out of respect and keep in mind these all that raised and mother just stated and God, their physicality that belongs to God, to treat others with respect, be a good physical example in front of others, intelligent, up to date, educated in current world affairs, especially in their own city, country that they are the world leader of, to be mindful of those that are employed under them, that work with them, to do what is in their job description. Each since born already, God loved into existence, gave these gift talents that no one else has abilities of. They swore an oath to God. Religious or not, and to the employer recorded within their brain, mind, heart, soul, thoughts, intents, and then chose to act, to speak, to write a verbal contract, to write a written contract rather, to speak to another individual, to tell the truth. A sworn oath, legally binding on the earth, in effect in the heavens immediately, monitored by those in heaven, according to the laws, respectful of all the God's rules, God's laws. They know their job is going to affect what they learned. Everyone that's going to see them, trillions beyond more of people on the earth. They have a serious job to do on the earth. Should they choose to use these gifts, talents no one else had to learn these things, were carefully selected as stated by God to do on this earth. They are morally obligated to do everything in their job description and to have those employed beside to work with them to accomplish it at all times, and can only make pay that they agree to, a verbal contract, legally binding, on the earth and in heaven, recorded in the thoughts, mind, heart, and soul, and assessed, judged accordingly in proper timing, and thereafter, when they accept this job, they can only make pay money if they do the old job in their that is all in their job description that is described. If they know not to and fail anything they think of, neglect to do in their job description, failed to fund disability money, to respect others as they want to be respected, their God given dignity, rights, to be treated as a valuable individual for all their worth, their physicality, their brain and physical health, the mind, emotions, personality, their life force, all the organs, the physicality, all that they're made of, are so valuable according to this God and belong to God, continuously monitored all their life. Their cells, every down to the molecular level, atoms, DNA ordinary level, genetic makeup, praying abilities in thought, mind, heart, and soul. All these individuals have recorded in them. The world leaders are obligated, judged like everyone else, recorded in them until they die. What their consciously thought deems sane, thoughts, intents, and then actions, their spoken words, their written, any statements, anything they speak in front of trillions of viewers, other humans, that all have rights to be respected, God given, free will of choice. Choice is consciously thought of, that is, to be respected, record within of by God in everyone, to keep in mind, to be respected their dignity, that is a valuable life, of their physical and for all their worth, to be respected by all, including the world leaders, and to be treated ethically right in all ways. This is a serious matter that has been neglected by almost all humans in the world leader job description, those employed under them. Their employers failed to monitor this, to keep up to date, to make sure that these individuals were doing their job. Separately, in the movie music industry, has been trillions of dollars invested, and other crews and other individuals invested money in morally wrong, harmful to others, disrespectful of others' health and dignity, life, safety, and welfare, especially in during and after before pandemic times, that have made trillions of dollars invested and resulted in moral wrong, judged within and wasted, and never prevented being put online by these world leaders, those employed under them, the employers to stop these individuals that hire these individuals that are on morally wrong side and know not to monitor the World Wide Web, the internet, since started past approximately or near there since the 90s, over 20 years. The Pope and previous popes made money, pay, swore oath to God, neglected to do this on the earth, and all world leaders in every country, those that have states under them employed, the governors of every state that have budgets for the certain state, say in America. In Canada, there's the provinces, then the cities, those that have individuals, premiers, the ones that have lower level jobs under the prime minister, medical staff of all kinds, not acting in proper timing, doctors, medical doctors, emergency staff, ambulatory care staff, paramedics, fire crews, staff, especially registered nurses, triage nurses, staff of all kinds that studied and were gifts given that others don't have learning abilities for, carefully selectivized by the beloved, holy, loving God the Father, truly put on earth, and those invested a lot of time. As everyone knows, it is not an easy amount of time, not a short amount of time, rather, and not easy studies. It takes a lot of human careful planning health to human to learn to be healthy and have enough funding to learn anything. And invested a lot of time on the part of the human earned angel gift parents for these individuals that worked hard to help fund these individuals to be healthy, have proper teachers, to get to these schools, even some housing, to work hard, invest the time to be respected, the mother that cared for them in the womb, 9 long months, the father, siblings, anyone that helped raise them, educators that took the time to teach them what is beneficial to human health, to respectful be of others their health, all that they are, so valuable according to and belong to God. Every human, their rights to be respected for all their worth and treated ethically right in all possible ways for all that they are, all belongs to them, the brain, mind, physical health, and the soul spiritually, all their right beliefs, their God given choice, to carefully select choices to be respected, their brain, physical health, safety when same, competent to make their own choices, individuals to be there for those that need us, but act in best interest of the choices that human individual, even an infant in womb, a child, that the parents are expected, other caregivers appointed, godparents, foster parents, to act in the best interest of the choices a child would make at that age, but in their own best interest of their own health, life, and safety, according to the respectful be of their emotional responses that know them as a child, their wishes, their personality, proper to their age level, to go to be put in a place where they choose to consciously choose to be go, will be respectful of them where they're safe and happy, respectful of their safety, well-being, a peaceful place, never left alone, always having someone there for them. And other individual, there are substitute decision makers that have a serious job of this, to act in the best interest of these individuals, to act in the best interest what they choose, know that they choose for this human separate from them, their choices to be respected in all these ways. Any human that is on this earth is judged. Excuse me. All humans are continuously judged, recorded. It is in every human thought, intent, and action, consciously thought of, saying, verbally spoken words, written subjects, wording, any actions taken physically on the part of one human affecting another, especially, are judged by God seriously and recorded in human all their life until they die, are judged by Jesus Christ that exists even more. A human has no right to disrespect themselves and not do what is in their job description to do and make pay. If they neglect to do what they have, their gifts of God, or use their talents that really God gives to them to learn, and those that they have to keep in mind to respect the mother and all just stated, and their efforts and time, and what they invested money and time to help raise them to get this high level job that is respectful of others that they're required to be. Use their God given talents, virtues to be patient, kind, compassionate, to be loving, respectful, then as well of others, to be intelligent, reply to everyone, be well educated about this individual first with the information they choose to offer up, then to use it, to thought within carefully in mind, to intelligently to reply to them, well enunciated, heard clearly, to speak to them appropriately and reply to them according to how they are have a right to be respected and treated with respect, what to assess what help rather they need, do what they're capable physically and be healthy expected to be, then when healthy can use their physicality and talents that God gave them out of his holy loving grace and talents, learning abilities, memory, to physically act selflessly without expecting a reward or anything in return, to do what is their job or in a volunteer position, to help another human depending on their job, say a medical professional, a lawyer that knows the laws, to stand up for the individual, a police officer that knows to mention the rules and laws to enforce physically what is in a job description to do, to keep promote the peace, be present, to mindful, to dress appropriately according to the target, not the audience, but those present around, to be mindful, not to scare anyone, to dress appropriately according to where they are put in their job description, not to walk with bulletproof vests on top to scare anyone, to be clothed even on top in case, to be respectful mind of others that don't want to see a police officer with bulletproof vests and guns when not needed to be. They know to be, but if they fail, have disrespected others in viewing range and scared humans and affected negatively their health and have no right to do, judged within by God seriously. If they didn't do what they have talents for, were trained, selected over other candidates, swore consciously, thought through, intent and act, verbally spoke a contract legally binding on earth in the heaven immediately, recorded in their thoughts, anything in actions, intents, anything they wrote a verbal contract and seen, anything in their brain vision, what they heard, what they spoke, anything that they replied to after they heard rather. When they spoke a verbal contract, swore an oath, were selected by an individual that had to assess them and only give them pay, if paid, to use their God-given talents to do their job, to be considerate of others, those that raise them, to have to be mindful of that all the time, and respectful of those that are in range of them, viewing range, hearing range, to be aware that others exist, to respect them in all ways that they rightly deserve at their intelligence level, to be considerate of their age level, humans to be considered that all have mindful of that they have emotions, personality, that everyone is different. Humans that no right to scare someone else, to make them cry, to offend them, to verbally abuse them, to talk too quietly so they don't hear and strain their health of the heart. All humans are judged, religious or not, by God within, in all that they think, have intent of, and act upon. In their sensory organs, what they choose to see, what they choose to hear, what they speak, what they write, any legal contracts. These are recorded in humans, everyone in every job title, especially that make pay for their whole life and stay that way until they die. If they neglect to do this, have been seriously judged already immediately on the earth by God under the Supreme Court of God, by any all laws, any rules, any disrespect of another human, they have then already committed a sin against another life, themselves, all that raised them for 20 years, approximately their mother that cared for the health, and anyone that taught them to respect each another individual, themselves. If they neglected to do the job and were chosen over other candidates and used their talents that God gave them, speaking, learning ability others didn't have, to morally offend someone, not reply in proper hearing, not considered in all ways, not to keep the peace as a police proper, fairly, dressed appropriately for where they're going, as a plainclothes officer, or if when it had to be, but not to put a bulletproof vest on top and scared someone. If the other ones didn't act accordingly, wasted budget money driving around to walking around scaring humans when they don't have to be there, wasting money, scaring individuals that see them. They have no right to do. Any medical staff that have neglected to act in proper timing in especially emergency rooms, clearly evident in world beyond trillions for years. Walk slowly. By the time they're humans even assessed by a triage nurse, there are 2 humans in the medical staff in Canada and others maybe somewhere in the world out of trillions employed above other candidates that have sworn an oath to God and judged within to do a proper time in proper timing to act accordingly and use their gifts that they were put on earth in that proper city place where God bestowed talents, learning abilities others didn't have. Gifts of these family members of humans that God carefully selectivized, loved into existence, and chose them to get along emotionally and help work that cared to help fund the education for this and shelter of this individual human earth angel to become a doctor, a triage nurse, then a higher level register nurse, ambulatory care individuals, paramedics, fire crews, specialists, different medical specialists, imagery, scanning, x-ray, and imagery, different these specialists that work in those different the fields, their jobs, security personnel, loss prevention personnel that are very important in every field, especially in hospitals and in other places to look and are very educated and trained to look to assess, prevent of loss for the hospital of money, to prevent, to look if a patient is treated in proper timing, admitted properly, if the nurses are doing their job in proper timing, assessing them properly to stand there to see if the doctor then is appeared and walk there in proper timing and assess their health properly and always that they right to be assessed properly, respected their rights, considered their emotional, physical well-being assessed properly and let go in proper timing or admitted when they choose fairly to a humane place, respectful of a human life, with proper temperatures, with considerate proper caring staff trained. These loss prevention individuals neglected to do the job in all countries for years, made pay and judged accordingly, severely punished. There are trillions of humans employed in all these job titles that have left trillions suffering and not done in proper timing their job and selectivized over others that cared and parents were for years and never got even into the schools and couldn't do the job, and others swore oath but neglected to do the job and still. There are things that a human can do, then file complaints, and priests and others to be a good example, and then tell to humans that are physically capable and unsafe to file complaints about this and make sure to follow up because most file complaint and might not be done anything, unfortunately, but it's true. For these individuals to be assessed, their employers to be contacted to inform them that they didn't act according to the job. Humans resulted have suffering, health failing, not respected or verbally abused, medically mistreated, not assessed properly in proper timing, suffered long waiting times, and some even let go and never treated. Money wasted, stole, even by facilities. Most of the board members of medical places in Canada, especially that I know of and others, are medical doctors, the higher level board members, and have not done their job and have sworn oath to God to do a proper job. This is a serious oath. Any lawyer on earth, no competent, intelligent individual, very educated, has stated that these individuals have to abide by the laws An oath consciously thought of, intent, and act upon, a verbally spoken, sworn, intelligent, competent, sane individual to accept a job in the medical field, all security, police officers, lawyers, World Health Organization, Federal Drug Administration in America, and the ones in other countries that regulate which medications are appropriate, which are not beneficial to human health, to animals and others, food items, which are deemed safe for human and other animals and others' consumption, proper to human health, respectful of bioethics, life respecting laws, health and safety laws, dignity respecting laws, that is God given dignity, that is assessed in every human, continuously monitored, even in the victims of those that they offended or didn't treat in proper timing right away, didn't do anything and all in their job description, that they had actual God-given talents that others didn't have, and were selected over other candidates that probably would do a better job, were sworn oath and didn't do their job, and trillions suffered. And even one other valuable life that might be a parent, have a child, affects, to keep in mind, one life, another life, potentially trillions, depending on the individual. One human life could speak something that might save the life of trillion people, put on earth with this gift that no one else has, that others kept in mind. Respectful have to be of their mother all the time to think of this, and those that raised them for 20 years, their health. These are things that everyone has, are judged within for years, but have neglected to continuously think of in proper timing and be well rested, healthy, a good example for others. Not only their own job to be considered and see if others are doing the job, to do what they can when safe, to see if they're not, to file the complaints to the employers, then assess fairly, and if they're not doing their job, to be fired and hire someone that does. That affect others, especially in hospitals, doctors' offices, medical secretaries, medical professionals, the governing medical boards that hire these and give the medical license to the doctors, the nursing college in every country, cities, states, the world leaders, the ones under them, secretaries of state, say in the states, many states, the ones under them that govern the cities. In Canada, the prime minister and the ones under them in the provinces, premiers, the different political parties. All these individuals have studied many years, but have neglected to focus that they have to be respectful and treat others with respect for all their worth, their dignity, that have a right to be respected and how they want to be treated, to treat others this way. To use their budget, especially world leaders, money, as human earth angels. God carefully select device put on earth, really consciously thought and give them gifts of parents, others that help raise them, that got along emotionally with them. Took a lot of effort to find these individuals gifts for these humans, little human earth angel babies, already in thoughts and womb, that were loved so much to be put as a gift to be a world leader, and proper place and time, selectivized gifts of teachers that emotionally get along, taught them best they can, that is not wasteful of their time, to teach them what is good, they're good at learning, that will benefit them in their job. Took careful selective thoughts and made carefully selectivized thoughts rather, and efforts took to consider each individual and teach them what they needed in life and not to waste their time with anything else. So they're more healthy, not waste their time learning other things that strain their brain, In most schools, no kids eat already, barely eat a meal and get there already have stomach lining damage or almost starving because they have to, well, learning takes a lot of calories and left in schools for hours learning subjects they don't need to learn. And needless to unharmed health and damaged stomach lining, resulting in poor immune system function, allergic reactions, inflammation, damaged stomach lining, uh, allergens and different microorganisms they can't fight off leaking into the stomach and damaged intestines, and resulting in humans, children being ill and not accomplishing what they have a gift right to use that affects others in the world. Their God given, loved into existence, dignity, destiny, their heaven sent destiny, purpose on the earth that the holy loving Father put them there with all these gifts, individuals, leaving love pets to help take care, make sure they're safe and happy, to help them be healthy and learn for 20 years to support them, then to use what others not cannot learn, to only use these talents, gifts, speaking, even public speaking, proper appearance, look healthy and beautiful skin, people is pleasing to others, to be considered to speak well enunciated, to be kind, compassion, use their gifts, virtues selflessly, without expecting anything in reward or return, to do what they are good at, help others to raise them and mother them, have to think of every day, to keep this in mind as much as needed, respectful of their target audience, those that they are employing, excuse me, those that they work with, to do their job, what their all job description entails, to respect others as they want to be respected. These are talents that they have on the earth, no one else has. Can only make pay if they and use these talents separately when they choose, are not forced to do. But when sworn oath to God and a verbal contract saying they're telling the truth, they cannot lie. If they lie to the employer to be hired as a world leader, medical staff, the Pope, an individual that will affect others' health, life, and safety, potentially trillions in these job descriptions, a religious worship leader, a police officer, military personnel. These individuals, even veterinarians that affect animals, have valuable lives, emotions, personalities. Those that help those in the wild, farmers, produce workers, nature, very valuable individuals with the gifts that no one else has of learning, loved into existence, are bestowed out of God's loving holy grace. He chose carefully thought of and put them on the earth for to use. If they lie to the employer potential one, that they will use these talents and all those that have to respect all this, the mother and are judged according to this, that invested the time by the heavens throughout their life, in their thoughts, mind, actions to keep in mind, and neglect this. Others, the parents that work hard, say in a factory somewhere to help fund them their and the education, to have shelter, to raise and make food so they can learn this, to do this job and neglect this and lie to get the job. They are judged within, according to God, under the Supreme Court of God, by God Himself, Jesus Christ that exists in heaven, the Holy Spirit. They have then consciously sinned, lied, and others will be, when choose to act this way, are going to negatively be affected and can't. And they have just committed a sin when they choose and be employed and not going to act, then carried out to act against all those that raised them. They are judged accordingly, according to God's laws about this in the Supreme Court of God. On the earth, the same laws as in heaven, immediately recorded in them. Any moral thought wrong they do, and choose to act and then lie to the employer and get the job, and know that others would do a better job or they're not going to do their job, and still said, I choose to do this job, but no, they're not. Know that the effect others are going to be neglected, and that what someone may be better in the job title actually do the job as a doctor or a leader, and trillions are going to suffer. Anything that they do morally wrong, no, not to have disrespected all those and teacher invested time all the years, and parents that raised them, that took consciously thought and took the efforts, have sinned against them. If they negatively affect others and prevent anyone else employed, that will actually help another life, and use their gifts that others to keep in mind raise them and help them to accomplish their job. These individuals have sins committed, have to rectify these on earth immediately, accordingly, in proper timing. Their physicality that belongs to God, their talents, if they use for any moral wrong, are severely punished for, recorded in them, in the thoughts, mind, their actions, the physical flesh, the cells, anything they use, any talent, physicality, they have muscles more than any human to use for a certain job that they neglected, any thoughts, anything they learned, that ability others don't have, any gifts that God gave them, God out of His loving grace to use to respect others, can only choose to use them for moral right. If they neglected to use them in their job description and had to do and know not to, if they use these gifts, talents, spoke something, their talent speaking one, didn't dress appropriately in front of others and knew to do, if they set a bad example not wearing a mask, and knew trillions were viewing, any journalists, news staff, world leaders, those under them, the president, those under them in the states, secretaries of state, the prime minister, those employed under them, the pope, that is the human representative of God and all his laws, right, morally right ways. If they chose to do the job and trillions resulted suffering by them being incompetent in their job, and didn't respect their mother and all these all the years that raised them to fund them throughout the years, are judged with and have committed an offense, a sin against all those that they offended. Those that offended are neglected and misled, not wearing a mask because they didn't wear the mask, and set a bad example for others, and the germs spread, or microbes resulted in pandemics. These individuals have committed sins and recorded those that are others affected by them. If they lost lives because of these not informing them to wear a mask, if they didn't do everything in the job title, the World Health Organization, CDC, the Center for Disease Control, the other ones in other countries, the Federal Drug Administration, regulating medications and food items safe and which are not safe for consumption for humans, and other research things that they're in their job description to do, pharmaceutical companies, medical staff of all kinds, religious worship leaders of many, all Christ respecting Christian, that is, Christ respecting religions. These individuals made pay and cannot have been judged right away on the earth under in the supreme court of Almighty, divine, holy, almighty, all-powerful God that exists in heaven. They have disrespected all those that raised them, their time, hard-earned money, emotionally raised them, and left crying to see that they didn't do their job, that their efforts went to waste of a human to the neglected and disrespected trillions and beyond in the world by not wearing a mask, that in itself, when needed, the Pope, previous popes, the world leaders, journalists, TV actors, news anchors, beyond trillions of priests, Roman Catholic, ministers, Protestant, Presbyterian, Anglican, Jewish rabbis, Greek and Russian and other types of Orthodox religious worship leaders, the Dalai Lama, pharmaceutical company owners, managers, store owners, major retailers, fast food owner, restaurant owners, managers, corporate office owners, the employers, the customer service reps that went along and accepted money, swore oaths, truth spoken that they would do a proper job to support these individuals. Mainly all failed to wear the mask. Food workers not all wearing hairnets and itself respecting of food. The items that have a life of loss of respect of the freedom of choice of these animals that have lost emotions so alive, killed for the purpose of food consumption, that ordered too much or not enough. I mean, too much rather, and disrespected is and breathed on and sold to others, have disrespected sin against God. Those that raised them right knew not to do this. They've disrespected this verbal contract, oath spoken under God into their employer, that they would not do this. They were chosen out of other candidates to do a good job, to respect those others in the food places, in restaurants, coffee shops, all trillions in the world, Tim Hortons, McDonald's, Taco Bell, all major restaurants in all countries. There are trillions of humans on this earth, and the customer service reps that are mostly employed children in the fast food restaurants, teenagers. Some consciously choose to get a job and can only barely get in, but there are really those ones that consciously choose are employed to do what get to make money for, only can accept pay for if they support a company that is knows care for and respect those mother, the time in the womb that she cared for, respect their health, their dignity, their father, all those that raised them, teachers, all the money they invested time to help them to use their gifts God gave them to do this human earth angel, them to be respectful of others job. Didn't respect their own physical health, excuse me, to be considerate, aware that there are others there, especially those working in customer service representative jobs. Know they're going to work with other valuable customers. These are humans with valuable lives according to God, also judged with and monitored by the omnipresent God. Loving God the Father, that have been raised to be mindful by the mother, and them and have our gifts had invested time to be raised have to be respected as well. To be aware that these individuals have valuable time, as all know in these jobs, especially the managers, to promote to employees, the corporate office owners of these companies, to their managers, to be mindful of this. Cannot waste a valuable time, the valuable time rather of any human individual that belongs to God. They affect one life. They could be a parent, affect another life, could be a medical professional, someone. They all have a purpose on earth and gift affect others, some potentially trillions others in the world. Their health has to be respected for this reason. Brain, physical health, and cannot think of, buy, produce, promote, advertise, fund, and the advertising of commercials, anything that is disrespectful of the health or safety and safety welfare of another human. If they're going to have a company that is going to promote something and workers they're not wearing a hairnet or anything, all means a mask, working with food to best prevent the spread of germs to others of their own, sick or not, then this human cannot have a company there and employ anyone. This human, there are trillions in the world working such as these individuals that were employed by humans that have money, corporate owners that started these companies, all trillions in McDonald's, these companies, Tim Hortons, Taco Bell, Harvey's, Burger King, KFC. These are some that I know of in Canada, personal experience to see. There are in the States other ones, and all in different countries in the world. These are fast food restaurants, even still have drive-throughs, not promoting to limit the gas use, vehicles to have waiting there and pollute the environment, running exhaust, polluting the grass that takes in CO2 from from these from other humans that breathe, insects that have emotions, soul, a life that has to be respected, also monitored by God, cannot be offended, disrespected, its health, life, safety, dignity in any way. Have kids to take care of the little ones, these ants, kind-hearted ones, have a soul. Every blade of grass is poisoned. This one and the plants, the flowers, have a purpose on earth. All damaged, suffering flesh damage. TD Bank, other these people the driving there to have to vehicles polluting and stop there running a vehicle, not even put a sign that is by a health safety board supposed to be well known, enforced on the earth by law. And all 100 trillion safety board members on the earth to respect their mother and those that raised them, educated all the time as stated, throughout the years invested time, have gifts that others couldn't, and other gift parent that had that helped them, others didn't, to achieve this job. They swore an oath under God, legally binding contract, and to another human employer. On the earth, judge recorded by God, judge according to the laws of the morally right God, just right ways, bioethics, life respecting laws, health and safety laws mainly, dignity respecting for all their worth and ethically to be treated right laws, free will of choice to be them and others respected, to be healthy, safe, to have clean air for all, to respect it, for the grass to not be polluted and air, all insects and right to live their life, to take and live a long healthy life, and as they choose and have right to be respected by all these laws, for others to be mindful, continuously aware of this, religious worship leaders and non-religious to be put titles should they choose to make these jobs or volunteer positions, humans that choose to be not religious but have a right to be. But to respect, promote this to all online. And the religious ones, such as Catholic and all the Pope, to put this on the new Holy Mass, to be mindful of humans. They are making pay over others that need the job and would do a proper job. Those in places and other ones, gas stations that don't have to run vehicles, those not doing their job. There are trillions of workers, customer service reps, even say in Home Depot, other stores that have trained individuals that work in greenhouses. Know that every plant has such a valuable life on this earth to take out their breathe air, that when human breathes air they release CO2. It's used air in the muscles, breathing functions. Then these plants take in this CO2, the breathe out air, carbon dioxide, and release clean air, oxygen. For these in itself individuals, these have a free will of choice as well to be promoted on the earth by the religious worship leaders, the Pope, and all non religious individuals, the world leaders on any all sites. as much as can, has been neglected for many centuries. These all have such a valuable life and God given free will of choice. They have a life force, they are living, they have living cells rather, organic, having two living cells to do with, have to by those that have the own the land, a moral obligation under God, and anyone that chooses gardeners, humans with properties of their own, with grass, flowers, to be mindful the weeds grow but are also a plant. They take up more nutrients than the surrounding from the surrounding soil for the other plants. To limit the number of weeds, but to be treated with respect. They also take in CO2 and release the air to have need enough sunlight to function properly. Their functions are loved into existence by this holy, loving God the Father. They have been bestowed upon out of His loving grace, consciously chosen every life on this earth, including the grass. Every blade of grass is so valuable, loved by God, but not mentioned by many on the earth. Humans walking are to avoid walking and cannot harm the grass. They have no right to do or judged within, are to be promoted, remind this on the earth even more. This a valuable soul life, and they have free will of choice not to be disrespected. Their physical health, dignity, their safety, welfare of each blade of living grass. When spoken to, reminded humans, the world religious worship leaders, not only a physical example of them to remind of the animals' reasoning abilities so others can help them, and of the other living, of God's beloved creation, including the grass, to remind individuals that then they keep in their thoughts, put in the schools early on, remind in the holy masses every Sunday, Saturday, or during the week when human choose and healthy, well rested, are not forced to do to choose a certain day and online can view this. When their health is best and well rested, safe at home. Not in going to pollute the environment, exhaust poisonous fumes that are not taken in by the grass, that leaves on the trees. The trunks have a life of the trees, the plants, the flowers, bushes, leaves, branches. These are poisoned. This on the side of every road. Residential areas, some take care of the lawns, but are not have been promoted for years. There's not enough fertilizer almost anywhere on any grass lawn of any humans has seen lawns. Those even purchase excessive huge amount of money spent, I mean rather on big in big buildings to invest money on to buy build new houses. And the loans don't have, and the company owners, restaurants don't, they have grown grass there on the lawn, but they neglect to even put proper nutrient rich fertilizer with proper vitamin minerals to support the life of the grass, that they are morally obligated by law, as any lawyer know on the earth, and that these are humans with souls, a life expected, their property is a value assessed as well. Retailers, not the retailers, rather those ones that work in the sales of houses, no property value, assess the value of humans of taking care of the grass, any plants, trees, bushes. If they take care of it, is assessed also as a value and not also monetary value of the property. But this valuable life has a dignity to be reminded by all and put in schools every curriculum. A dignity, a valuable life has functions bestowed upon, consciously chosen by this holy, loving God, the Father and Creator. Loved into existence, created this for the purpose function that they have to be respected of their physical entirely, all their cells, to have enough sunlight, fertilizer, proper nutrients, to respect every different type of species of grass, for humans to educate themselves and have a lawn should they choose and to take care of it, accordingly water it with enough water, to only have a lawn as needed, grass there, to remind kids not to walk on the grass, other humans, put a walkway there. Any life is there, 100 blades of grass cannot be walked on. They cannot be harmed, damaged. They have a choice to be respected, have a life for soul to be respected. There's record monitored by the holy loving God within. They cannot be mistreated, harmed. Their organs, the cells, living cells in any way. Their choice, and it has to be respected, God again, carefully selectivized them within their being choice. They have a purpose function that have to their physicality function properly, the whole blade of grass, the flowers, the other plants that have resulted also produce, vegetables, fruits, the flowers, weeds, other have some health benefits, beneficial to others of God's beloved creation, humans, infants, the ill, other animals. The bees have a job to do. They have a soul. Remind little ones that injured need to be taken care of. Humans that are trained that can handle, but when safe, to help these ones. These ones have a life. They pollinate one flower and go to another, help. They all have a purpose loved into existence by God, and dignity, free will of choice, have to be treated ethically right. So valuable, loved by God, continuously monitored within as well. Every individual. Every individual on this earth have the right to use their gifts, live their life healthy, and be safe as long as they can. Every blade of grass are those that have the lawns that care to grow them, the seeds, the produce, farmers, to grow only what is needed of those that they will take care of, beneficial, respectful of others if needed in that city, to take in CO2 air that can afford it, to help and grow them, to put fertilizer, to be mindful that others exist, that they have such an important part on this earth, that they have they're kind-hearted ones too. These respectful of these ones, they are existing there for the purpose, selflessly, without expecting a reward or anything in return, to release clean air for all living creatures. Under the land, above the land, the little insects that have a life, that affect another life, to take care of their infants with a little soul, little ones, loved little ones, kind earth angel insects. They have their purpose as stated, benefit to pollinate one flower to another. These flowers are needed, nutrient purposes for others, maybe medical purposes, some of them, and others. Fruits, vegetables have living flesh, their skin to be respected by all. Many stores are having them in too cold and other temperatures, have gone to waste, picked off the plant and cannot be gone to waste. These have been neglected, have a life purpose, but have to be respected for all their worth, dignity of God within them as well. All that they're made out of, every particle, atom, molecule, living cells. When taken off the plant, taken only if needed, ripened and proper timing, not to be wasteful, only grown what is needed, and to be used for consumption right away, cooked appropriately, not to lose nutrient value, to be beneficial to use, respect them, have to be considered by the human, and given to an animal or someone, to be consumed fairly, not mistreated. All judge accordingly how humans act according to these vegetables and fruits treated, are assessed sense within by the God. Everyone has to be respected, including all these individual plants. The plant that had these fruits has to be respected, picked only and properly to be treated after. The branches have cells living there, grown properly with proper fertilizer, nutrients absorbed within from and vitamins, minerals, because they're going to be resulted having fruits, leaves are living there, enough sunlight. These are beneficial, essential vitamins having minerals to human life, other animals, living creatures to consume them. Cannot be cooked in any way that is neglecting their rights, choice, dignity to be mistreated. They cannot be, that is their dignity, a valuable life to be respected for all its worth and treated ethically, cannot be disrespected, rather. Every cell of that molecule has to be treated, dealt with properly, even consumed properly, never cook it in too many harmful greases, disrespect in any way. That will also be the vegetable itself doesn't allow for itself to be then used consumed by another of God's beloved creation to harm their health. They cannot be harmed themselves, to be boiled in excess to lose the vitamin value, to be harmed. They also have rights still. All fruits and vegetables monitored by God, how humans act according to this are judged within, recorded their whole life under the supreme court of Almighty God to abide by and respect the, that is, bioethics laws. Respect of life. Bio having to do with life laws. Laws are inalienable, are not changeable. That means they are there, have a proper meaning, one meaning, are always in effect. Every one of God's beloved creation has to respect them all. All humans, that is, are judged within accordingly, are to be taught at a young age and throughout their life, reminded by religious worship leaders, the Pope, to be respectful not only of humans' anatomy and physiology, educated, promote basically so humans know how they function, what vitamins, food to eat, beneficial to their health physically. Then they can use their gifts, pure soul, and be good examples for others to do their job, what the gifts have from God to do. Healthy to accomplish it, to move their muscles, to breathe the air, to think, to be then reminded of the others that need taking care of, and these ways that the vegetables, fruits, the plants that release the air, if the lawn, the blades of grass are neglected and harmed, they are suffering injuries because the second that they're harmed. They don't deserve to suffer anything according to God in this way, being affected by organ damage, cells damage. They cannot be disrespected, burned. There are no forest fires allowed. These are valuable lives of these trees that they have. God given dignity. These have to be treated with respect for all that they're worth, every little particle, atom, molecule, living cell. The leaves, only grown if needed, never torn down. They have a right to live a long, healthy life as long as needed, without any one of God's beloved creation, all knowing, to and are expected to respect those that raise them, the mother and raise them, are required to be educated by teachers promoting this at every level. Religious worship leaders of all Christian, especially Christ respecting religions, especially Roman Catholic, Jewish, all these days mainly are Anglican, Protestant, Presbyterian, the Orthodox ones, some other minor Christian religions respecting, but are more of morally right ways, Buddhist, all these Islamic, Hindu, Muslim, any all respecting God's morally right ways have to promote this to others in the sermons or what they term use it in other religions. These days, after even pandemics resulted, as everyone knows, everyone is safer to view any mass at home of any religion, safe when needed, healthy first, respectful of their own self vision. And these are all obligated, these priests, individuals, to promote anything on this earth, to promote and remind humans that they are loved into existence. This is an all knowing God that knows all and sees at all times. No one gets away with anything. He is a loving, holy God, the Father. He exists, a deity only one in the heavens. I emphasize these words and have meaning. He is a divine, holy, almighty, loving God, the Father and Creator that truly exists in the heavens beyond the nature, that is having to do with supernatural, beyond the nature realm, not part of the nature himself. This one is a separate existing God entity. His Jesus Christ, that is his Son, exists in the heavens, and the Holy Spirit. All of God's universe was created, as stated by the loving, holy God the Father, perfect, with a physicality that was consciously thought of by an intelligent, holy, loving God the Father and Creator that took the time and was considerate that his universe, how he created it, had to be respected by him, continuously monitored. All that he created and consciously cared and thought of and conceived in his thoughts, then thought and then consciously chose by free will to act, to create. Every physicality, the ones on the earth with a brain, mind, thoughts, a heart, soul, life force, natural ability to die, a physicality that has a God given dignity, and all this mentioned, and all parts of it down to molecular level, particles, atoms, genetic makeup, praying abilities in thought, mind, heart, and soul, especially in humans, even as infants starting. Then there's the animals that have not as much reasoning abilities, intellectual abilities as humans, but are valuable, and those that are more educated, and to promote this on the earth at level one safe to do, those that can handle it. But these are kind-hearted animals. They need help from others to help take care of them when needed, when safe. They, as keep in mind, as with all humans, after all the pandemics, and if there are any other pandemics in the world having to do with certain microbes that are not allowed to actually be on Earth, because humans do not deserve, and all God's beloved creation, according to the holy, loving God, the Father and Creator, do not deserve to suffer being affected by on the earth, especially affected beyond their control, that they do not consciously think and choose to be affected by, according their to respect their God-given free will of choice. as well, their God-given dignity, a valuable life to be respected as well for all their worth, all for all that they are, and to be treated ethically, that all they are and all that they belongs to them in all ways that they rightly deserve to be and have to be, according to the divine, holy, loving God the Father that exists true in the heavens, is omnipresent in his creation that he loved into existence, continuously all of them judged within, have to be considered that out of themselves health those that raise them, as stated throughout all the years, time invested, and to be aware, when healthy possibly can. And by this God, to be mindful is also respectful that humans are not allowed to be affected by any foreign microorganisms. Pandemics were not to be resulted on this earth. It was on the part of the God, the beloved, loving, this rather the holy, loving God, the Father, to make sure none of these microbes ever were on the earth. He was morally obligated, according to his word, spoken to his loved into existence creation, true, inviolable rather, that means can't be violated. He had to act according to his word. Anything foreign to a human physicality that he loved into existence, and others, especially parents and others, invested time and have their gifts to take care of another individual human earth angel with a purpose, carefully selectivized, consciously chosen, and put on the earth created, with a carefully selectivized, bestowed upon out of the holy loving grace of God, of his grace, loving grace, that is, talents to this individual gifts. These parents, other are gifts, other human earth angels with talents, other things, teachers with talents to teach this one, through this human earth angel, baby, infant, and then respect of all the other living creatures with physicalities, emotions, soul, mind, thoughts that don't deserve to be disrespected in any way, cannot suffer being affected by anything foreign to them, their physicality, that God created perfect, that have to be respected by this holy, loving God, the Father and Creator, are all judged within, expected to be a good physical example, respectful of themselves and of others at all times. These ones, and every part of nature, every individual rather, loved into existence, these blades of grass, every flower, created, put there on earth with a predestined purpose, loved into existence by this holy, loving God the Father, with functions that they have the physicality that have free will of choice as well to use, to choose to use these functions to take in CO2, breathe out air, used air, carbon dioxide from other living creatures that all function this way, and to release clean air, oxygen for them to breathe, to use when they inhale, to circulate to their organs that require oxygen in the lungs, to the brain, for muscles used to move other organs through their bloodstream. Humans, those when humans pregnant, those in the infants in the womb, all living creatures, that have respiratory tracts and organs that require this, animals, loved pets, insects, birds, bunnies, farm animals, those in the wild animals, sea creatures, those in different bodies of water, living creatures, those above the land, under the land. All of these are so loved by this holy, loving God the Father. He doesn't allow for any of them to suffer. According to His word, He loved them so much and created them. Everyone is judged as stated to be respectful and mindful, and to be educated as well, when healthy as possibly can of themselves when can, then to be mindful and promoted by teachers early on and religious worship leader in holy masses, that are not to be wasteful of human time, mentioning useless Our Fathers, standard prayers, saying Catholic ones. These are not prayers. These are mostly non-intelligently written words that are a waste of human valuable limited time on the earth, are disrespectful of human brain and physical health. Only few words that are intelligent are mostly beliefs that a human can learn when they choose to believe about the holy in heaven. These are not prayers. The Apostles' Creed. These are beliefs a human can choose, not forced to do, to learn. And remember in their thoughts, reminded of on a site, on a religious worship site, Catholic, any main one, Pope, Vatican site, non-religious one should they choose, any morally right ways, beliefs of them, but to, and as well, any other sites, enrolled websites. These are mandated by a human me victim that is a respectful of the God, Jesus Christ, that exists and the Holy Spirit, known to be true, that knows this and respected since born. Mentioned was learned, taught these in schools, but have learned other things on the earth, worked in factories, others, but invested a lot of time to learn and put these studies in other basic biology and life sciences and some Christian Christ respecting studies and some of other intelligent scholars information words to help me to put together and life experience what others couldn't learn. Not easy to do biology, neurobiology, physiology, anatomy, about nature, animal physiology, other things. Throughout the years and seen on the earth to put this information together that no one has done for centuries. And like myself, would have been healthier if I was told to stay home, and but went to the churches and prayed, but these were not prayers. If someone told my parents and me and the educators that and it's supposed to be, and people prayed for years for proper guidance on this, for proper priests, popes in the souls, but never accomplished on the earth. There's one or two humans that early on years ago that accomplished, tried to promote this on the earth, Jesus' words, but it was lost over the years. In other words, mine a victim, my own abilities. I have not been inspired by God, Jesus Christ, personally in any way. I am a victim, innocent human, kind of hard individual that worked hard but was not protected on earth. Have whatever I left learned of school throughout the years and put together to prevent human health from failing by informing them. All those kind-hearted humans devout to respecting the holy loving God the Father, that doesn't believe that anyone deserves to suffer being affected by anything that they don't deserve to suffer according to him, the holy loving God the Father and Creator, that is foreign to them to be affected by. No one deserves to be affected by any foreign microbes, especially that they don't have antibodies or anything to fight off against. No one deserves to be affected by any health concerns. Everyone is right to be and has to be born physically healthy. Everyone has a right to be respected and have proper parents, proper guardian angels that are appointed, present, especially when they choose on the earth. Archangel protectors of God's beloved creation, present as needed, as a safe distance as well as needed, right away in proper timing on the earth to protect them, all of God's beloved creation, as many as needed. These haven't been on earth, besides, even though functioning separately from humans and nature on earth, but referring to present beside at safe distance, guarding all of God's beloved creation to keep safe. These loved really have a purpose, really chosen, carefully selective, I emphasize, by this holy, loving God the Father, put to be born in proper place at proper time that affect others. Their purpose is, and should they choose, can only use these God given talents they have others don't have to selflessly help others, to promote to others what others couldn't learn, those that are more educated, to put on worship religious sites, or the priests have more target audience, the Pope Vatican site, the Pope, to do his job about this, what he's supposed to do as human representative of God in his morally right ways, laws, be a physical good example for the whole world, for all humans of all different nationalities, of all humans, for all to remind it of those that have less reasoning abilities that exist, the animals and the nature, that they all exist, each one to list it as the ones I stated, to remind them, to educate basically about them, that they do have a life, a soul, to be respected, living selves, God-given dignity, a valuable life, so valuable according to this loving, holy God the Father. But according to the laws, bioethics, mainly life respecting laws, health and safety laws, their God given free will of choice, choices that they carefully selectivize to act in the best interest of their own health, of their whole physicality, all their functions, their own life force, natural ability to die, those that have the praying abilities in thought, mind, heart, and soul, all the living cells, every particle they're made of, atom, molecules, have to be respected by the holy, loving God the Father. Everyone to be respectful of those that raised them, and to use what those that learned more of this to help put on parish sites. The Holy Mass have trillion viewers. Some have 100 parishioners. Some have 1,000 every Sunday. Some during the week, Saturday. Of all Christ respecting religions, humans all are judged, are expected to respect also, cannot do anything morally wrong, have to use only their talents. Keep in mind that God gave them and only make pay if they use them for morally right purposes and do their job. Cannot accept a job if they won't do their job, especially over other candidates that will affect others, especially in medical field, world leaders, the Pope, that affect many people, other of God's beloved creation, that work with plants and greenhouses, other companies that deal with the plants, all the ones that work with the animals, the farmers, the veterinarians, the police to keep humans safe, the military, all others, and by the laws, the lawyers that deal with the laws rather. Everyone has to be considerate of others and use what they can and accept a job and only make pay and use their gifts for what they that God chose them to have to use should they choose. They have been judged within, as I say. Should they accept a job, then they have to do everything in the job description that they have to do to be respectful of others, to use their gifts, talents only for what the job entails, can only make money if they make money or volunteer separately. They have to do their job. Use the gifts, the talents they have only for what the purpose of moral right, to help others, to educate others, to communicate information or to educate others depending on their job, to use their money budget. The human world leader, these earth angels. Every human in a job title is an earth angel, a human earth angel on the earth, in the world, carefully selectivized by God, a unique individual, different, separate from everyone else, with God given dignity, choice, rights to be respected for all their worth and ethically treated, a very valuable, beyond the words, individual of God's beloved creation. I am a victim of every job title that failed to do their job since I was born. If everyone that's sworn oath to God and the saying are judged on the earth did their job and respected the mother that cared for them in the womb 9 months and all others, the parents and all this on the earth, if God did his job, Jesus Christ personally and Holy Spirit as well, they had a huge job to do from the heavens on earth to guard me, my guardian angel on the earth, to be present physically, the real one, the archangels to be sent there to me to guard, protect me rather, when I was born. I would have lived and have been respected as a right to be my God given choice, rights, dignity, since born and protected to do what I choose to do and a right to live a long, healthy life, to sleep enough as I chose, not forced to do, to learn what I chose, was poor but worked, went far to learn, factory, beyond words, for minimum beyond wage, but used to learn in life science biology, put 19 years of efforts to learn this, took the extra year to learn this basic human nutrition course and other physiology courses, the brain, neurobiology, anatomy, Christian Christ respecting studies, logical, intelligent scholars. Didn't waste my time with the other ones. Learn what I can, got a 4-year barely degree, not protected to finish, but barely got enough marks to graduate. If everyone did their jobs, a priest included, the archdiocese, those in heaven, real ones, medical staff, if acted accordingly on the earth to respect my health, life, and safety, well being, over the years, I would have not been disrespected in 100 billion ways since I was born. I have not been protected by God, the holy, loving God, the Father that exists truly in the heavens, Jesus Christ personally, that exists, the Holy Spirit, the Holy Mary, the real archangels that exist, that have abilities of weather, to a moral obligation and a job to do, and to respect God's will, healing abilities, miraculous, resulted, holy, loving grace, God abilities, of the mind and to think resulted to accomplish miraculous healing of me when they failed to protect me on the earth. 100 million past highest number times over the years failed. And they cannot. These apply are judged as well, the archangels, within by God. Jesus Christ that cast the final judgment even more, because nothing can morally do wrong in on itself, cannot disrespect deftly anyone else in any way, their God-given dignity, free will of choice, any of their rights, beliefs, and other things according to God and his morally right ways, laws that are inalienable, that is not changeable, that are inviolable, cannot be violated. They had to act in proper timing, out of respect of the order of the universe, out of respect of one of a human earth angel, Angelica Jacella, innocent human, a little human earth angel with no holy powers, not a holy angel with powers of God, holy loving grace, and abilities of mind, a flesh child, born healthy, on the earth in 1980, had to be protected on earth from a fallen archangel that has been severely punished by the holy in heaven, all of them. They failed and cannot. I am a victim of every wrong in the universe and sin crying put on earth separately. What others failed to do, to think of and respect their mothers, what the priests failed to promote this for years, most of them, the popes, obviously, and cannot. The world leaders, religious individuals, not religious individuals, all humans, almost all working in all holiest sites in the world. I'm a victim of every job description impossible in the world. Have suffered victim of medical negligence after sin against for 19 years on holy grounds, not protected, against feel not allowed by one that's judged but heaven not take away. Then barely graduated. Whatever I barely learned, remembered for years, medically harmed for almost 20 years with no heaven to intervene on the earth, had to protect me for years, but failed personally and cannot. A human kneeled, went to the churches, not to protect, but went, and then he went Catholic, learned throughout in Catholic schools the prayers, but then throughout the years put together what others couldn't learn, biology and but took the time to extra learn those ones. What is harmful to human health, envision what I learned this to think of and put together, and of religious physically harmful to health practices that are disrespectful of a human physicality, of a human earth angel, a little baby, that God loved into existence so much and carefully took the time to put them and carefully selectivized, loved into a gift from the heart. These parents, teachers in a proper city, time, place to be, they get along mostly as well, or to care, to keep in mind, to tell to teachers at all levels that every child is different, has different gifts, to teach them only what they need to learn. They cannot be forced to learn anything useless to them, to keep in mind that their health is most important. They might be put on earth to be a world leader, to assess this early on, a medical doctor or someone that might affect trillion people's lives and benefit. Their health has to be respected early on. They are growing, and keep in mind, new cells, still 20 years old. New immune system cells, muscles, connective tissues to the spine, skeletal structure, nervous system, brain, are growing, have a lot of required rest in a safe, warm, safe place, soft place, with enough circulated air from trees clean to take out the breathe air and then release air into the place they are so they can breathe air for their physicality. That they breathe out the used muscle and air, the CO2 rather, and then take in clean air. To be constantly cared for by these gifts, these human earth angel parents that God carefully selectively loved with talents to be put on earth. Even some humans have talents to be parents, to care and to work there, and some take the mother stay home, but care of for one that might be a doctor, even a friend to someone. Is there a social worker? These are humans, not many on earth, but care that do a huge job on the earth to help those in the long-term care other facilities. These are gifts from God put on earth in proper timing, and humans choose to use these gifts when educated to selflessly help others, to be there for others so they are not alone. No one is allowed to be left alone. These little ones then are to be educators, teachers at all levels, daycare workers, high school, elementary school teachers, university lecturers, professors, those in seminaries, those that teach higher level studies for religious worship leaders, popes, cardinals, archbishops, vicar generals, ministers of Protestant, Presbyterian religious religions having to do with rather Orthodox ones, some Anglican, Lutheran, Jewish, Buddhist, Muslim, Islamic, Hindu, any other Christ respecting religions. These all to keep in mind what I stated in this video. Carefully selectivized words. There are more details that go along with each, but is a summary of a human victim left to see on this earth, not unfortunately, not protected rather by this holy loving God that exists, the Father. Disrespected on the earth in every possible way, my brain, flesh, and organ cells, and not healed for decades, and blocked to die, so don't go die and go to heaven, not suffer. A clean mind human to type and speak to make these videos on the earth, already so safe to be done on earth. Poor work to use what I choose to learn, and a victim kneeling put it together as a child to what is harmful to human health and respectful of the holy God in all right ways. What is to be on this earth? Humans that have a right to live through heaven on this earth while they have only one life to live. They were loved into existence, have a right to be in the womb healthy. God has to do his job. Guardian angels have to do the job, present by the beloved creation, all their life to guard and guide them till they die, and to make sure they're safely not scared and go to where they're going to, either the heaven, if they morally did right, if not, if they didn't rectify on the earth any world leaders and others that I stated and were judged and didn't apologize to those victims, and to seek forgiveness within themselves before they die to God. Their physical temple health, if they neglected and they didn't act according in front of others, misled someone, they didn't wear the mask, if they didn't put a budget, the world leaders and knew to do, anyone that they offended and didn't apologize and rectify it, if they didn't give back the pay for the money that they didn't do their job for, if they used their talents that they were had to do over other candidates to use on the earth and neglected to do or use them for morally wrong purposes, any in the music, mainly other industries, pharmaceutical company, restaurant owners didn't do the job and employed others in advertising Companies misled others, didn't wear a mask, didn't put their employees to be respected and other humans to wear hairnets to prevent hair and germs on the food and sell it to others. We didn't wear gloves. Pandemic times or not. All fast food places, as stated, almost all of them neglect still. Minutes already before suffered and died, as everyone knows. SARS, mainly COVID, others affected by other things over the years. No one deserved to suffer this on the earth, according to the holy loving God the Father. I suffered on this earth horrendously, disrespected alive, against free will, sin against, to mention anything on God's side. The right side, what I learned as child, to put this together, but no one did for centuries. To stop the harmful to health physical practices of those devout to God, respecting their others, physical health and others, to be a good example, respectful of Jesus Christ as well, not to morally do wrong and disrespect others, and the Holy Spirit. A Catholic human myself went to church for years, kneeling, deemed that all kneeling physical harmful to health practices such as kneeling, especially in churches, kneeling anywhere is harmful to human health, obviously. To teach, to tell to the children immediately, whoever hears this, take it offline, any pictures, anything that is harmful to human health that you see on your sites, do a serious, merciful, selfless act of kindness and compassion from your kind-hearted soul when well rested. Have enough calories first to make sure. Then you have enough calories, glucose, fuel for your brain to think, muscles to move, to act, clean air to breathe, safe place to do, save trees, don't write things down unless needed. They have a valuable life, right to live, release air for others, trillions in the world. Think of anything that is harmful to your health. If it harms your needs, think of it, and it's worth putting online, even a simple video. You could record on YouTube or anywhere and simply speak, and trillions will view and put to other. There are social media sites such as Facebook groups that have different target audience of 100,000 or million or other people number. There's the Twitter with mostly the world leader and other individuals online there that have trillions of followers. The news major world channels in every country to send a link is modern day that will help trillion people, and to keep post on your site and make sure to follow up that they put it online and say by law morally obligated to do. Out of respect of their own health, those that raise them, the mother, that they have to, and should they choose to do, have the viewers affect all the health, life, safety, and well-being of others in the world, and to please put it on their sites where they have the millions of followers of humans looking for any possible way to prevent their health from failing, to save the health of those that have been affected by many things on the earth beyond their control that they obviously did not deserve to suffer and did. And some still are affected by natural disasters, pandemics, health concerns, even born in womb and after, victims of accidents, victims of all those others that didn't do the job on the earth, offended, morally wronged. They weren't helped medically with advice properly or mistreated. World leaders didn't fund the disability for all to live with the basic necessities that their human earth angel purpose that God loved them into existence to do, with a money in account to have to morally obligated to put in a disability program in every country for those that cannot work, for the food, basic shelter they would do, but have been injured, to consider not for a second and cannot work for as long as they can't. are physically incapable of working but choose to do have a right to have funding. They cannot say they don't to fund these individuals suffering affected by a brain injury or anything funded, anything. They need to have a proper quality life that they have right to live, properly funded, enough money for food, shelter, electricity, internet fees, basic toiletries, sheets, any bedding, any personal assistant, any transportation costs, anything, and to save money for retirement, any dental fees, anything, all to be funded by this budget out of love of a human, respectful of those that raised them to be a world leader with this budget to fund for these individuals a life that they're suffering something they don't deserve to suffer and have a right to live a happy, good quality life with not fearing to live on the street and die with no food and water after a day or so, with the actual budget that they have on the earth that is beyond disrespectful of human life in past years in almost every country. To neglect a disabled, brain damaged human victim myself and seen in world in the well-known countries in the world to give a budget for human that was even a victim are most unseen in world true of medical negligence, not hired proper staff, misassessed health, and chemically harmed, then put on the street with disability no housing on 3 year and many year waiting lists that need urgently given right away, have the funding for, but neglected to act. To put a budget after trillions suffered on the earth and most died after 2 days, with 2 days worth of food and water, money, shelter, and then forced to live on the street and die. One disabled, brain damaged, and cannot work. I myself am homeless and have suffered on this earth, not protected for over 42 years. Unless the heavens intervene, I cannot die and have severe organ life force damage, sin against for approximately 42 years. So I did on the earth what I think is most proper, innocent human, and used the term human earth angel. Founded the human earth angel, the worldwide rather, human earth angel movement of humans to have a physical being, a physicality that is healthy, respectful of themselves, and are morally obligated and have to be respectful, especially when others are of those around them, to be considerate of them, to be dressed appropriately in proper clothing that won't harm their vision, that is dressed properly as best they can, that is circulates air, proper clothing, not tight on the wrist, no tight socks, anything that is not harmful to health, not to misinform others, to be respectful of one's own self, health, and of others, so that you set a good example for others. Others won't be harmed. They are then happy, filled with joy that you considered them. They were not misinformed, especially children. Their health then didn't fail because they saw you not wearing tight socks and sleeves and wore proper clothing accordingly as well. And then buy the tight with the cuffs on the sleeves and tight socks and have proper circulation and can do what they have gifts for. To use that God gave them, loved into existence to help others, to prevent or relieve the suffering of others, to do seven spiritual or corporal works of mercy as they can, to do the job that they're loved into existence and mother loved to care for them in the womb for 9 months and others raised, invested time, money, jobs that they did, and to help raise the teachers, carefully select, devise on the earth gifts as well, thought of to help this individual learn, this human earth angel with a purpose that God put on earth to help others, to save another life, to be a gift friend for someone when needed, a study buddy, someone there to study with, to be someone there in the dark cross path with a friend, someone to be a volunteer, to help someone, to be there for a pet, to care for nature, to promote these things, If all humans did the job Angelica on Earth is human would not have cried. Then was tortured alive and harmed, sin, disrespect alive, and the worst sin against ways. So not make these videos to remind humans what they are to be respectful of on the earth, what it had to be protected and respected to do. When I chose to be healthy and intelligent, to look up information, to promote it to others, dressed appropriately as I choose, was tortured alive and blocked brain to think crying of the ideas I have that will help prevent the life's health from failing of trillions beyond of people for approximately 25 years. Not one in heaven protected me after respected their ways on the earth. So I do what a human can do to promote this, a humanitarian that acts in the best interest of all humans, kids in the world, an animal rights supporter and activist, choose to be knowledgeable and promote the health, safety, well-being, and rights of these valuable lives of these animals and other living creatures, loved pets, with brain, mind, soul, emotions, free will of choice, to live a long, healthy life, to be their God-given dignity for all their worth, to be respected and ethically treated all the time and as they choose, have God-given free will of choice. Those that act in their care to consider it what they would choose, think to be respected, their health, their safety, their wishes, their emotions, personality, to take care of them, assess this properly, and have to by law are judged within by God, and they're assessed within the animals how others react, treat them, or have to be respected to morally treat them right. They cannot make them cry, offend them, or harm their physical health. It is recorded in them how others treat them. That individual, if mistreat an animal and can't or have sinned against another life, are judged within if don't upon rectify it with the living creature and God and Jesus Christ that they sin against can't, and the Holy Spirit while alive and seek their forgiveness, then they have severe punishment after they die in hell. Everyone's assessed on the earth and how they mistreat and how they treat living creatures. Angelica is a human being on the right side, also, and for the nature, this to be respectful and all on the earth, especially the living plants. They all have a life. As if he meant to be reminded, even speak to them, I remember you. They have a valuable life. They will grow better. They have a soul there. The little ones, most loved into existence, function most important of them all. To take in, breathe air, and all of these insects, little ones that have infants and others, and birds and their little ones. To be respected for all their worth, dignity, choices, health, their rights. Supporter and promoter, activist, to act, to speak these words, to promote it on the sites, on the websites, in the video, to tell humans to do a selfless, merciful act when they can, to promote, share to the main sites where there's most people, to click on modern day easy link to follow up, then make sure that they put it there. It is so important. To priests, ministers, the Pope, Twitter site, they have the most followers, the news channels in the world. Those that can have the abilities, few more dollars to translate the exact words. To keep in mind, transcribed functions are not exact on this site, the YouTube. Any words I spoke are some exact words on the when transcribed into words there on the function, but a lot of them are not accurate. They're not all my words after I spoke them. To keep in mind, mine are exactly carefully selectivized words with a serious meaning on the earth. These are all words that are human to take the time when healthy, well rested first to make sure. Your health is most important. If you don't have your health, if you're not healthy, that is, you cannot accomplish anything. Unfortunately, after all these years and pandemics and other recent natural disasters that were not allowed to happen on Earth, out of respect of those that prayed, kneeled like myself, prayed in soul, but even heavens failed to accomplish to prevent the ones in recent years and had to do. Then it's still there's humans to act and not allowed to suffer. Keep in mind, according to the beloved loving, to the loving God the Father, anything that they don't deserve to suffer, to including to see another human suffering something that they don't deserve to be affected by. No one deserves to suffer being affected by anything that is harmful to their health. Everyone has a right and chooses have to be respected, God-given choice, dignity, rights to be live a long, healthy life, respectful of those. Keep in mind that raise them and others, to be considerate anywhere they go in public places, to stay 2 meters away from one another or a meter and a half approximately, to prevent germ spread, COVID or not. Everyone to be respectful of one another, world leaders, everyone keep your hands to yourselves. Don't share anything. Even if COVID is gone from the earth, other pandemics, everyone keep in mind has their own germs. Do selfless acts more online, to post, to respect others, limit the amount of paper cards sold, share only if to give a gift to someone safe, that is sterilized, individually packaged, safe to give to someone, even if there is no COVID, to limit the amount of germs a normal human has spread to another, to save whatever is left on this earth of human life and health, the animal lives, valuable individuals, loved, beloved, that is of God, so loved by this God, really, really valuable. All of the individuals he loved into existence have kind hearts and souls. When everyone respects each other and puts this on the site, this video, any all carefully selectivized words authorized to exact words to be put on any talk show or the most media sites on Twitter, YouTube, to please share to the world, to translate those who have the take the time to put exact words into the proper language in exact words to those in different nationalities, in different countries rather, in proper to their language, so the value of these words is not lost. It has a serious meaning according to the holy loving God the Father that exists. There are laws involved, rules. Every word has a meaning that has to be respected by all. This has to be promoted by all on the earth, especially those that have the most followers. The religious worship leaders have online now the sites, they have the Holy Mass. Angelica started the online merciful information session. It is in essence the new Holy Mass for all. Those religious or not, all welcome, to promote human physical health, to be healthy, then to use their gifts, virtues, their praying abilities, in thought, mind, heart, and soul, and he bestowed upon them gifts, talents, to do what their purposes on the earth loved into existence by God to do, carefully selectivized by this loving God put on earth, respectful of those that raised them, the mother, to keep in mind all their life, have to be their valuable efforts, time, the hard-earned money, to help raise individual, keep safe this human earth angel baby to do its job. Purpose loved into existence to selflessly respect others, to selflessly help others, to do its job, to prevent and relieve the suffering of others that they don't deserve, to be there for someone so they are not alone. Another of God's beloved creation. to be a human earth angel, to help those pet earth angels, insect earth angels. Those in job titles are our human earth angels of that job title with gifts to do, to respect others as they want to be treated with respect, have to do. Those that raise them to remind it of, keep mindful of, are judged accordingly, have to respect, do their job or resign, and hire those that care. To selflessly, then, when healthy, be aware of other things on the earth going on, to advise others to prevent their health from failing, do a merciful act of kindness and compassion from your pure hearted soul, selflessly without expecting a reward or anything in return, to help others, to make their lives easier to live, to bring joy to their hearts and souls, happiness to them. To keep in mind these words, very important. When a human is happy, the brain is functioning a lot better and whole physicality. The human whole well-being improves. Then transcend, bring heaven on earth to that other of God's beloved creation that you had a talent for to use, bestowed upon by the loving God, the Father and Creator that exists. Carefully selected as unique to you to use should you choose in these ways. For you to restore or to maintain the heaven on earth for this other individual or trillions beyond of that you have a job to do on this earth as a human earth angel from your kind-hearted soul. That everyone has a right to live on this earth through heaven on earth while they have only one life to live. To remember everyone to treat each other with respect. If everyone does this and restores this on earth and everyone does their job and shares this video and other ones on my site, a human earth angel, you will know that a human me crying will not be crying on the earth anymore to see how others have not done to respect their own health, life safety, and jobs neglected, and it resulted in me harmed, offended. They haven't failed to do their job, the real ones had no right to do. For some reason not on earth, I did what I can on the earth, failed to protect me, to have my pretty face that I chose in front of people, to be intelligent, not sin against on the earth disrespect while I record these videos by a fallen one. If everyone did their part, and I wouldn't be crying to see on the earth. What went on that the beloved, holy, loving God the Father had to do his job on the earth to prevent from happening. All natural disasters had to do his part to have proper world leader popes to tell them what their actual job is, as I stated in this video. The world religious worship leaders as human representative of God and his laws, morally right ways on the earth, to set example as if Jesus did, to be physically healthy and then gifts to use the virtues when physically healthy, exists to be respected, everyone to do morally right, to be respected for all their worth, and treated ethically right. Their God given dignity that is to be respected, free will of choice, rights, beliefs, morally right ways, clean minded ways, etiquette, by the holy loving God the Father, as well, Jesus Christ Himself, and the Holy Spirit, all those that pray to in heaven by others, having acted accordingly in proper timing on the earth, is evident and have no right to do. Then only humans can do what they can on the earth. One health healthy and safe to do, and do what they can in their job title that they have loved by God, gifts to given, respectful of those that help them, the gifts there for them, the parents, other siblings, love pets, to remember all the little ones, other insects, if they're in, to help them when they can, call humane society, help the dead little ones, treat with respect even after they die, any all or don't not to kill any animals for food, fast food places, chicken at least as well. Rather, these have a life. There are vegetable sources of protein that are valuable to humans that has everyone has known to eliminate all use of chicken products that are organs that have to be respected. On this earth, valuable lives have a soul cry. These emotions killed these chickens that have a valuable purpose, even to have eggs for certain ones that are not for the infants, but for proteins, egg source, for vitamins and proteins for individuals to consume, are better left to be left alive to live a healthy life as they choose than to be killed and used for chicken products that are not entirely eaten and over sold in overbought rather in stores and put to waste and cannot be out of respect of their dignity and life of this individual, God's beloved creation, a chicken, for its organs then to be consumed, only used for proper reason right away and not gone to waste. A life is valuable, including in this example of chickens. Trillions in the world have emotions not treated right and scared in the dark, crying and killed. No one wants to be killed. Killing is a mortal sin. No one has a right to kill another of God's beloved creation. To treat them unethically, including unhealthy chickens, insects, little ones that they have little ones right to take care of, live a long, healthy life as best they can, are judged within. All humans as well, judged by God, severely punish any human that sins in disrespects, sins against rather, and disrespects another of beloved creation to make them cry, to unethically treat them, to scare them, to leave them in the dark, to not give them enough food, including chickens, farmers, others in the slaughterhouses, buffalo, horses, other inhumane, other rather not proper ethical treatment of a valuable life with emotions, personality. So those in other places in some other countries that even consume animals that are not to be consumed, such as dogs. Others to be listed in another topic in a post or video. These as well all have valuable life, sea creatures. No one has a right to kill the plants, to damage them, to burn them, to use them for anything that they don't need them. They all have a valuable life, and everyone is judged accordingly. So everyone, please do your job to promote this to others. Reminded, be of others. Say hi to the other ones. Remember them. They grow better. Take care of the grass. Remember, they have air for you. They don't take in the poison from the cars. They are damaged. Trees, bushes, plants. Never drive a car unless needed to church, to a building that has no open windows. You will suffocate yourself. Poison with CO2, breathing the same air turns to carbonic acid and poison yourself and others. Never put holy water in the churches to spread germs. Use it for drinking only. It is a limited resource. Never make the sign of the cross. It is harmful to human health and spread germs in any holy water on your forehead to skin and clothing. Never kneel in hard kneelers and floors on churches or anywhere. Save your health. Never go to get the bread sacrament. Stop production of it. Respect the bread. It is not individually packaged. It is and disrespect of a bread food item to be given from one human negligent priest not caring, and the hand germs that has its own bacteria to another human, offered in Jesus Christ's name of bread of life is not allowed. Everyone is judged. Remember these words to tell to others and set a good example. You are expected to do on the earth. If everyone does their part, and mainly priests, ministers, to stay home where it's safe, promote anything I stated on in this video rather to others immediately, put it on in school curriculums, other sites, do your part, take the few seconds when healthy, make your own videos of the exact words, parts of it that humans need to know, put a link, this one, to the other sites there, protect this on the earth, best can, put it on a site, save it there, share it to someone else. I only make one, best I can. Everyone needs to know this information on the earth. No one has done anything on this earth about this for, unfortunately, for many centuries. Please see the Earth Angel Help website. Please do your part. If everyone respects each other, help fire the ones that don't do their job, remind them of their job according to God to respect others. If they don't, help fire them, follow up. And everyone then will be respected and treated with respect and happy, healthy, safe, and live through their heaven on earth that they rightly deserve, while they have only one life to live. All of God's beloved creation.